The coffee smelled wrong that morning. Not burnt, exactly, just off. Like someone had measured the grounds with their mind somewhere else entirely. I stood in our kitchen, my kitchen, technically, since my name was on the lease, and watched Tessa's phone vibrate face down on the granite counter. 3 buzzes. 4. The kind of insistence that means someone expects an answer. "You going to get that?" I asked. She looked up from her yogurt bowl, that practiced smile already in place. "It's just Mallory. Girls chat stuff." Girls chat stuff. Right. I'm Gavin Hale, 34, operations manager for a regional logistics company you've never heard of. I solve problems for a living. Route optimization, inventory discrepancies, the kind of puzzles where everything has to fit or the whole system collapses. People think I'm soft because I don't perform anger. They're wrong. I'm just observant, and I'd been observing a lot lately. Tessa's gym bag sat by the door, packed with the kind of efficiency people only use when they're hiding something. Matching water bottle, protein shaker, that expensive athletic wear she'd bought 3 weeks ago. The tags were gone. She'd worn it already. Somewhere. "So, Vegas," I said, pouring my off-tasting coffee into a travel mug I wouldn't drink. "That's still happening?" "Thursday through Sunday." She didn't look up. "I told you twice." "You did." I leaned against the counter. "Mallory's whole crew?" "And a couple guys from the gym. Just friends. You know, the spin class people." The spin class people. Right, because gyms these days apparently came with co-ed Vegas trips included in the membership fee. Her phone buzzed again. This time I caught a glimpse of the preview notification before she snatched it up. Hotel confirmation, Luxor Resort. Gone. Screen locked. That smile again. "You're not going to do the jealous thing, are you?" Tessa asked, tilting her head with that expression she used when she wanted me to feel small. "Because that's not who you are. You're not like those insecure guys, right?" There it was. The dare, the trap. React and prove her right. Stay calm and let her win anyway. I took a breath that tasted like bad coffee and worse decisions. "I'm not jealous," I said. "Good." She stood, rinsed her bowl with the precision of someone who'd already mentally left. "Because I need this. You understand, right? You're always working late. I'm allowed to have a life." I was working late because someone had to pay for the life she was living. But I didn't say that. Instead, I watched her roll her suitcase to the door, one of those expensive hard shells with the smooth wheels that whispered on hardwood. "Gavin." She paused, hand on the doorknob. Her nails were freshly done, deep red. "If you're going to act jealous every time I go out, just leave already." The words hung there like smoke. I could feel something shifting in my chest. Not rage, not even hurt anymore. Something colder, clearer. "Enjoy your trip," I said. She blinked, probably expecting an argument. When she didn't get one, she shrugged and opened the door. The suitcase wheels hummed down the hallway. The door clicked shut, and something in my head clicked open. Satr. I didn't move for maybe 30 seconds, just stood there, coffee mug cooling in my hand, staring at the space where she'd been. Then I set the mug down very carefully and pulled out my phone. Not to check her location, not to spiral into some paranoid investigation. I just opened my email and scrolled until I found what I was looking for. The shared calendar sync from 3 weeks ago. The one she thought I never checked. There. Tuesday, April 15th. Spin class, 7 p.m. I pulled up my own calendar. That was the night I'd worked until 9, fixing a routing crisis. When I'd gotten home at 9:30, she'd been in the shower, smelling like expensive shampoo, and telling me about how intense the workout had been. I clicked on the gym schedule. No spin class on Tuesdays, not at 7, not at any time. My hands were steady. That was the strange part. I felt like I should be shaking or crying or putting my fists through drywall. Instead, I just stood there, methodically checking details. The Venmo history on our shared tablet, because she always forgot to switch accounts. 3 payments to someone named Brent K. in the past month. 2 with little muscle emojis. One that just said, "Thanks for the protein." I didn't know who Brent K. was, but I could guess. The second buzz came from my pocket. A text from Mallory. "Take care of her for us. She deserves this trip. Take care of her, like I was the butler, like that was my job." I looked around the apartment. Our apartment. My name on the lease. My money-paying utilities. My effort holding this thing together while she documented her wellness journey on Instagram and called it a career. The third buzz was the one that changed everything. A notification flashed on her tablet, still sitting on the counter. Tessa H., Luxor Resort booking confirmation, 2 guests. 2 guests. Not 4. not Mallory's whole crew. 2. I picked up the tablet, opened her email before I could talk myself out of it. The confirmation showed a room reserved under her name and a +1. No name for the second guest. Just additional adult. My vision didn't blur. My breathing didn't quicken. I just stood there, absorbing it like data. Like a logistics problem. Like something I could solve if I just found the right route. Then I started making a list. By the time the sun moved enough to change the light in the kitchen, I had 3 pages in my notes app. What was mine? What was joint? What was hers? What was legally dangerous to touch? What wasn't? I wasn't crying. I wasn't raging. I was doing what I do best, solving a problem. The problem was this. Tessa thought I was harmless, thought I'd stay, thought I'd be here when she got back from Vegas, ready to swallow whatever story she fed me about girls' nights and spin class friendships and how I was being paranoid. She was wrong. I pulled up my contacts and called Noah. He answered on the second ring. Hey man, what's up? Noah Pierce. My coworker, my friend, the kind of guy who documents everything because he's a systems person like me. He has a dash cam in his car, backup drives for his backup drives, and exactly 0 tolerance for nonsense. I need help moving, I said. Silence. Then, moving where? Out. More silence. I could hear him processing, that engineer brain clicking through possibilities. When? He asked. Today? Now. While she's gone. Okay. No questions, no judgment, just that calm, practical tone that felt like a weapon. I'll bring boxes. Give me an hour. I hung up and looked around the apartment again. Everything here told a story about who we were supposed to be. The throw pillows she'd chosen, the art prints I'd paid for, the coffee maker that had belonged to my grandmother. None of it felt like home anymore. It felt like a stage set for a play I'd never auditioned for. My phone buzzed. Tessa, from the airport. Why isn't the Wi-Fi bill paid? I can't get on the network. I stared at that message for a long time. Then I typed back, I'll take care of it. And I would. Just not the way she expected. Noah showed up with boxes, a label maker, and the kind of calm that makes chaos feel manageable. He took one look at my face and said, You're sure about this? Yeah. Okay then. He handed me a marker. Let's be smart about it. Smart meant legal. Smart meant documented. Smart meant separating what was clearly mine from what we'd bought together and leaving anything that could be argued over in court. It meant not draining the bank account, just moving my direct deposit to a new one I'd opened online while waiting for him to arrive. It meant canceling the subscriptions in my name, streaming services, the autopay for her gym membership, the grocery delivery she used twice a week. It meant photographing every room, every piece of furniture, every item I was taking, so there'd be no question later about what had been here. You want to tell me what happened? Noah asked, taping up a box of books. She's in Vegas with someone named Brent from the gym. I think she's been seeing him for weeks, maybe longer. He stopped mid-tape. You think, or you know? I know enough. He nodded slowly. Then let's make sure we do this right. No mistakes, no leverage for her later. That was Noah. Never dramatic, just effective. We worked in silence for a while. The kind of silence that feels like solidarity. Box after box, my clothes, my electronics, my grandmother's coffee maker, the framed photo of my parents that Tessa had always said didn't match the aesthetic. The aesthetic, right. By 3 p.m, the apartment looked different, emptier, more honest somehow. Like removing the furniture had revealed the foundation underneath, and the foundation had cracks. I left her things exactly where they were. Her clothes in the closet, her makeup in the bathroom, her protein powder in the cabinet. I wasn't petty. I was precise. The note took me 10 minutes to write. I tried 4 different versions. Long explanations, short ones, angry, sad. None of them felt right. Finally, I settled on 3 words. 3 words that used her own logic against her. 3 words that would hit exactly the way they needed to. I placed the note on the counter, under the ring dish she'd bought when we got engaged. The ring dish she never used because she said the ring felt tight lately. The pen I used was the one she loved, the overpriced fountain pen she'd bought at a boutique and made me carry home because it was too special for a shopping bag. Took your advice. That was it, 3 words. Noah read it over my shoulder. Cold, he said, but fair. Is it? Yeah. He picked up the last box. She told you to leave, you're leaving. We loaded my car and his truck. The elevator was broken, naturally, so we hauled everything down 4 flights of stairs. At one point, I dropped a box, and photographs spilled across the landing, pictures of us at the beach, at Christmas, at that overpriced restaurant she'd wanted to try for her birthday. I picked them up and kept moving. By 5 o'clock, everything that mattered was out. I did one final walk-through, checking closets and drawers, making sure I hadn't forgotten anything I'd regret later. In the bathroom, I found one of her bobby pins on the counter. Such a small thing. I almost left it. Then I swept it into the trash, because why not? Why leave anything behind that suggested I'd be coming back? I stood in the living room one last time. The afternoon sun came through the windows at an angle that made the dust visible. The whole place looked sad without my stuff. Incomplete. Good. I pulled out my phone and blocked her number. Not dramatically, just efficiently. Then I changed the settings so she could still reach me via email, for legal purposes only. Noah locked up behind us. "Where are you going?" he asked as we loaded the last box into his truck. "I don't know yet. Hotel, maybe, or that extended stay place off Route 1. You can use my spare room." I looked at him. "You sure?" "Yeah, besides, you'll need somewhere to plan the next part." "The next part?" He gave me a look. "You didn't just walk away. Not really. You're too smart for that. You've got something in mind." He was right. I did. I just hadn't admitted it to myself yet. As we drove away, I watched the building disappear in the side mirror. I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel angry. I felt something else. I felt free. My phone started buzzing around 7 that evening. I was at Noah's place, unpacking boxes into his spare room, when the calls started. Not from Tessa, from Mallory. 3 calls, 4. I let them all go to voicemail. Then Mallory texted, "Hey, Tessa is freaking out because she can't reach you and the Wi-Fi at home isn't working. Is everything okay?" I stared at that message. The false concern. The question mark designed to make me feel guilty for not responding fast enough. I typed back, "Everything's fine. Taking care of things." Then I muted the conversation. Noah appeared in the doorway with 2 beers. "They're starting to panic," he said. "Good." He handed me a bottle. "You want to tell me the actual plan, or are we improvising?" "Little bit of both." I took a drink. "She's in Vegas right now, with him, probably having the time of her life, thinking I'm at home, waiting like a good little husband. And instead? Instead, I'm going to make sure that when she comes home Sunday, she understands exactly what she lost." Noah raised his beer. "I'm listening." So I told him. Not everything. Not the details I was still working out. But enough. Enough that when I finished, he smiled for the first time all day. "That's cold," he said. "I learned from the best logistics manager in the business." "Right, you did." We clinked bottles and drank. Outside, the sun was setting over Portland, painting the sky that particular shade of orange that always reminded me of endings. This was an ending, but it was also something else. A beginning. Just not the kind Tessa was expecting. My phone buzzed one more time. A text from an unknown number. A photo of the Las Vegas Strip at night, all neon and noise. No caption, no explanation. But I knew who'd sent it, and I knew what it meant. They thought they were winning. They had no idea the game had already changed. The spare room at Noah's place smelled like cardboard and old carpet. I lay there on the air mattress he'd dug out of his closet, staring at the ceiling, listening to the sound of boxes stacked against the walls. My entire life, reduced to label maker text. Books? Clothes? Kitchen? Sleep wasn't happening. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Tessa's face when she'd said those words. Just leave already. So I did what I always do when my brain won't shut off. I made a list. At 2 a.m, sitting on the floor with my laptop, I opened a spreadsheet. Column A, asset. Column B, ownership. Column C, legal risk. Column D, action required. The apartment lease, my name only. She could stay if she wanted, but she'd have to qualify on her own income. Good luck with that. The car? Joint title, but I'd made every payment. Messier, but solvable. The furniture? Receipts showed I'd bought most of it. Documented. Bank accounts? She had access to the joint checking, but I'd already moved my direct deposit. The savings account was in my name only, advice from my dad that I'd resented at the time. Thanks, Dad. Credit cards? 2 in my name, 1 in hers. I'd call them Monday and remove her as an authorized user. Freeze any joint credit. Utilities? Electric? Water? Internet? All in my name, all set to auto-pay from the joint account. I'd already logged in and changed the auto-pay source to my new account. By Sunday, when she got home, she'd find out exactly how much I'd been carrying. The streaming services, the grocery delivery, the meal kit subscription she'd begged for, canceled. Every single one. I wasn't being petty. I was being precise. By 3 a.m, I had 47 items cataloged. By 4, I'd drafted emails to the landlord, the insurance company, and my bank. I didn't send them. Not yet. Timing mattered. Noah found me at 5, still hunched over the laptop, running on coffee and spite. "You sleep at all?" he asked. "No." "Figured." He sat down on a stack of boxes. "You know what you're doing is going to hurt her, right?" "Good. Okay, just checking." He handed me a fresh mug. "Because if we're doing this, we're doing it right. No mistakes she can use against you later." That was why I'd called Noah. Not because he was sympathetic, because he was systematic. "I need to go back to the apartment," I said. "One more time. Make sure I didn't miss anything." "When?" "Today. This morning. Before anyone's awake." He checked his watch. "It's 5:15 on a Saturday. I'd say that qualifies." We took Noah's truck. Dawn was just starting to break over Portland, that gray pre-light that makes everything look like an unfinished sketch. The streets were empty except for delivery trucks and the occasional night shift worker heading home. I had my key ready, but my hand shook slightly as I slid it into the lock. "You okay?" Noah asked. "Yeah." I wasn't. But I pushed the door open anyway. The apartment felt wrong. Not like home, not even like a place I'd lived. It felt like a museum exhibit. Marriage, American, 21st century. Behind the velvet rope, do not touch. I walked through slowly, checking closets, cabinets, drawers, looking for anything I'd forgotten, anything that mattered. In the bedroom, I found one of my old college sweatshirts shoved in the back of her closet. I pulled it out, felt the worn fabric, remembered the person I'd been when I'd bought it. Younger, dumber, more trusting. I folded it and added it to the bag I'd brought. In the bathroom, my electric razor was still on the counter. I'd forgotten it in yesterday's rush. I unplugged it and dropped it in the bag. In the kitchen, I opened the junk drawer, the one that accumulates keys and batteries and expired coupons. At the back, I found the spare key to my parents' cabin. The cabin they'd left me. The cabin Tessa had always called rustic, in that tone that meant I hate it here. That key went in my pocket. That place was mine, always had been. Then I saw it. On the counter, next to my note. Tessa's tablet. The one she used for recipes and shopping lists and Instagram scheduling. The one she'd left behind. I picked it up. The screen was locked, but the battery was at 60%. She'd forgotten it in her rush to pack for Vegas. Or maybe she'd assumed she wouldn't need it. Her phone did everything the tablet did, but the tablet was synced to her email, her calendar, her messages. I looked at Noah. "Is this legally mine to look at?" "It's in your apartment. She left it behind?" He shrugged. "I'm not a lawyer, but I'd say you're in the clear." I opened the tablet. No passcode. She'd turned that off months ago because she said it was annoying. Her email loaded. I didn't have to dig. The Vegas confirmation was right there. 3 emails down. I opened it and read the details. 2 guests, check-in Thursday, check-out Sunday, king suite to king suite. Not 2 queens, not separate rooms. My stomach twisted, but I kept reading. The reservation was in her name. The credit card on file was one I didn't recognize. Had she opened a new card without telling me? I scrolled further. Found another email, this one from 2 weeks ago. Registration confirmed, luxury fitness retreat, Vegas, April 18th of 21. Luxury fitness retreat. That was the cover story. The explanation for why the gym people were going. Except the registration showed only one name, Tessa Hale. No Mallory, no group rate. Just her. "Found something?" Noah asked. "Yeah." I turned the tablet so he could see. "She's not going with a group. She never was." So the whole girls' trip thing was a story, for me, for Mallory, for whoever else asked. I felt that cold clarity settling over me again. She's going alone, or with one person. I scrolled through her messages, found the group chat with Mallory and the other gym women, read backwards through 3 days of messages. They were talking about Vegas, about clubs and shows and restaurants, making plans that didn't include Tessa, because Tessa wasn't with them. One message from Mallory yesterday afternoon. "Have so much fun, babe. We'll miss you. Tell us everything when you're back. Tell us everything." Like she wasn't going. Like Tessa was going solo. But she wasn't solo. I knew that now. I found Venmo next. The app was still logged in. I scrolled through the recent transactions, and there it was. Brent K., $240, hotel split. Hotel split. I took a photo of the screen with my phone, then another of the email confirmation, then one more of the group chat. "That's enough," Noah said quietly. you've got what you need. But I kept scrolling. I couldn't help it. I needed to know how long, how bad, how stupid I'd been. The Venmo history went back 6 weeks. Small payments, coffee, lunch, protein. That one made me laugh, a sharp bark that echoed in the empty apartment. Then I found the calendar. Her actual calendar, the one she thought was private. Entries in red. B, lunch. B, gym. B, after work. B, Brent, the guy from the gym. The guy I'd probably walked past 100 times without knowing he existed. I checked the dates. The first red entry was 8 weeks ago, 2 months. She'd been seeing him for 2 months. Gavin. Noah's voice was firm. We need to go. Yeah. I set the tablet down exactly where I'd found it. Yeah, okay. But as we headed for the door, I stopped. Turned back. Walked to the bedroom one more time. I opened Tessa's jewelry box on the dresser. Found her engagement ring sitting in the velvet slot. Not on her finger. Not lost. Just here. Not important enough to wear. I closed the box and walked out. Back at Noah's place, I uploaded the photos to a secure cloud folder, documented everything with timestamps, made notes about what I'd found and when. You're being smart about this, Noah said. Thorough. I don't want to be smart. I want to break things. I know, but breaking things gives her ammunition. He gestured at my laptop. This is better, this is control. He was right. I knew he was right. But it didn't make the anger go away. It just made it colder. My phone buzzed. Mallory again? Tessa's super worried about you. She can't get through on any of her apps. Did you change the Wi-Fi password? I stared at that message. The manipulation was so obvious it was almost funny. Super worried. Translation. Annoyed that her access was cut off. I didn't respond. Instead, I opened my email and started drafting the messages I'd written at 3 a.m. To the landlord, to the insurance company, to the utility providers. Effective immediately. Please update the authorized contacts on this account. Remove Tessa Hale. Reason: separation of shared residence. Cold, professional, documented. I sent them all. Then I made one more call. To my bank. I need to remove an authorized user from my accounts, I told the representative, and I need to close the joint checking account. Yes, I understand I'll need her signature. That's fine. I'll open a new individual account right now and transfer my portion of the balance. It took 20 minutes, but when I hung up, Tessa's access to my money was gone. Noah was watching me from the doorway. You're really doing this? Yeah. No going back. I know. Good. He grabbed his coat. Then we're going to need supplies. You can't sleep on an air mattress forever, and if you're staying here for a while, we're making it livable. We spent the rest of Saturday at Target and IKEA, buying things I'd never had to think about before. Towels, a desk lamp, a halfway decent mattress. It felt absurd and necessary at the same time, this building of a new life from particle board and clearance section bedding. While we were loading the truck, my phone buzzed again. This time it was a voicemail. I almost didn't listen. But something made me press play. Tessa's voice, drunk and happy. Babe, oh my God. Vegas is amazing. You were so right to let me do this. You're so mature. I knew you'd be fine. I knew you'd understand. You always understand. That's why I love you. That's why I love you. Past tense disguised as present. I deleted the voicemail and put my phone in my pocket. You okay? Noah asked. I will be. By the time we got back to Noah's and assembled the furniture, it was dark out. We ordered pizza and sat on the floor of my new temporary room, eating in the kind of comfortable silence that doesn't require explanation. So what's next? Noah asked finally. I need to figure out who Brent K is. The Venmo guy. Yeah, the gym guy. The guy she's in Vegas with right now. And then? And then I make sure he knows exactly what kind of mistake he made. Noah raised his beer. Okay then, let's find him. It took 40 minutes. Noah was good at this. Better than me. He pulled up the gym's Instagram page, scrolled through the tagged photos, and started cross-referencing names with Venmo profiles. Brent Kincaid, he said finally, turning his laptop toward me. 29. Sales rep for some smart home company, lives over on Brighton Avenue. Posts a lot of gym selfies. I looked at the profile. Square jaw, perfect teeth, that particular kind of confidence that comes from never being told no. The kind of guy who thinks a protein shake is a personality trait. Smart home company, I said slowly. What kind of smart home company? Noah clicked through. Looks like security systems, cameras, locks, that kind of thing. Something cold moved through my chest. Check the apartment expenses, I told him. From 3 months ago, see if there's anything about a security system. Noah pulled up the joint account history, scrolled, stopped. There, he said. February 14th, Valentine's Day. Payment to Secure Life Home Systems, $400. That's the installation, I said. My voice sounded distant. For the trial. What trial? Tessa said they were doing a promotion, free trial of their security system. We just had to pay for installation. I felt my hands curl into fists. She pushed for it, said it would make her feel safer when I worked late. And you said yes. Of course I said yes. She framed it as being worried about our safety. Noah's expression went dark. So this guy Brent, he works for the company that installed your security system. Yeah. Which means he has access. To the cameras, the locks, the app that controls everything. I stood up, pacing. He could see when I left for work, when I came home, when we were fighting, when we were sleeping. That's not just cheating, Noah said. That's surveillance. I pulled out my phone and opened the Secure Life app. Logged in with the credentials Tessa had set up. The camera feeds loaded. Living room, bedroom, kitchen, all offline. When did they go offline? Noah asked. I checked the activity log. Wednesday, the day before she left for Vegas. She disconnected them. Or he did, before they left, so there'd be no record of anything. Noah leaned back against the wall. That's premeditated. Yeah. I felt that cold clarity again, that sense of pieces clicking into place. They've been planning this. The Vegas trip, the cameras going dark, all of it. So what are you going to do? I looked at Brent's profile again, at his smug smile, at the photos of him posing with clients, with gym buddies, with his arm around strangers at parties. I'm going to take back control, I said, starting with those cameras. Sunday morning, I woke up to 15 missed calls. Not from Tessa, from numbers I didn't recognize. Probably Mallory giving out my information to the girls' group chat, mobilizing them to pressure me into answering. I deleted all the voicemails without listening. Then I made coffee in Noah's kitchen and sat at his dining table with my laptop, preparing to become the kind of person who tracks people online. It felt invasive. Wrong. But not as wrong as what they'd done to me. You're up early, Noah said, appearing in sweatpants and an old marathon t-shirt. Couldn't sleep? Vegas is 3 hours behind. They're probably just going to bed now. And you're checking social media? Yeah. He poured himself coffee and sat down across from me. Find anything? I turned the laptop so he could see. Tessa's Instagram story from 4 hours ago. A photo of the Vegas Strip at night, taken from a high hotel window. The caption, "Sometimes you just need to remember who you are. No tags, no location." But the view was distinctive. I could see the Luxor pyramid in the frame. She's being careful, Noah observed. Not careful enough. I clicked to the next story. A video this time. Tessa laughing, face flushed, music pounding in the background. The camera swung briefly to show a crowded club. And there, in the reflection of a mirror behind the bar, I caught a glimpse of a man's profile. Square jaw. Familiar. I paused the video and zoomed in. The quality was terrible, but I didn't need clarity. I knew. That's him? I said. Noah squinted at the screen. You sure? Yeah. I opened Brent's profile next. He'd posted his own story an hour after Tessa's, a photo of a bourbon glass on a dark wood bar, tagged at some speakeasy-style club. No caption, but the lighting matched Tessa's video. They're not even trying to hide it, Noah said. They just think you're too stupid to notice. Or too passive to do anything about it. And are you? I closed the laptop. No. By noon, I'd compiled everything I could find from public posts. Times, locations, photos, videos, every piece of digital breadcrumb they'd scattered across Vegas. None of it was definitive proof of an affair, but pattern recognition was my job. And the pattern was clear. Thursday night. Both of them at the same high-end restaurant, posting 30 minutes apart. Friday afternoon, Tessa at a pool, Brent at the same pool an hour later. Friday night, the club, the reflections, the matching timestamps. Saturday morning, both of them silent on social media until late afternoon, then both posting from hotel rooms with identical window views. It's circumstantial, Noah said, reading over my shoulder. A lawyer would tear this apart. I don't need a lawyer. I need to know I'm right. You're right. I know, but I need them to know that I know. Noah refilled his coffee. So what's the move? I stared at the screen, at Tessa's smile in that club video, at the way she'd tilted her head back, laughing, without a thought for me sitting at home. Except I hadn't been sitting at home. I'd been methodically dismantling our life together, piece by piece, while she danced in Vegas. "I'm going to call the hotel," I said. "And say what?" "That I need to reach my wife, that I'm worried about her, that I'm her husband and I'd like to confirm her reservation." Noah looked skeptical. "They're not going to tell you anything." "They will if I sound concerned enough." He shook his head. "That's manipulative." "Yeah, it is." I dialed the Luxor's main number, put it on speaker. The woman who answered sounded bored. "Luxor Hotel and Casino, how may I direct your call?" "Hi, yes. I'm trying to reach my wife. She's a guest there. I've been trying to call her cell, but she's not answering and I'm getting worried." I let real anxiety creep into my voice. It wasn't hard. "Her name is Tessa Hale. She checked in on Thursday." Keys clicking on the other end. "I'm showing a reservation under that name, yes." "Oh, thank God. Can you transfer me to her room?" "I'm sorry, sir, but I can't transfer you without confirming your identity. Are you listed on the reservation?" "No, but I'm her husband. I can give you our address, our anniversary date." "I understand, sir. But hotel policy requires that we protect guest privacy. If you'd like, I can connect you to the front desk and they can take a message." I played the hurt husband card. "I just need to know she's safe. Can you at least confirm she checked in? That she's actually there?" A pause. Then more gently, "The reservation shows a party of 2. Both guests checked in Thursday evening. Is there anything else I can help with?" "Party of 2. "No," I said. "Thank you. That's all I needed to know." I hung up. Noah was staring at me. "That was cold. It worked." "Yeah, it did." He stood up and grabbed his keys. "All right. If we're doing this, we're doing it right. I'm driving you to the airport." "What? You heard me. You're going to Vegas." "Noah, I can't." "Yes, you can. You need to see this for yourself. Not through Instagram stories, not through phone calls. You need to look her in the eye and know for absolute certain that everything you're planning is justified." He grabbed my jacket off the chair and threw it at me. "Besides, if you're going to confront them, better to do it in a city with cameras everywhere. Keeps you honest." He was right. I hated that he was right. But he was. 4 hours later, I was on a red-eye to Vegas. Noah had booked it on his credit card. I'd pay him back later. The flight was half empty, just me and a scattering of other tired travelers who'd made questionable life choices that led them to Nevada on a Sunday night. I didn't sleep. I sat in my window seat and watched the darkness slide past below, broken occasionally by clusters of light that marked towns I'd never visit. I thought about what I'd say when I saw her. Practiced speeches in my head, angry ones, calm ones, versions where I yelled and versions where I stayed cold. None of them felt right. By the time we landed at 1 a.m. Vegas time, I'd stopped trying to plan it. Whatever happened would happen. I just needed to be there when it did. The airport was surreal at that hour. Still busy, still bright. Slot machines dinging in the baggage claim like the city never slept, and never let anyone else sleep either. I grabbed my one carry-on bag and walked out into desert air that smelled like cigarettes and disappointment. The Uber to the Strip took 20 minutes. The driver tried to make conversation, but gave up when I didn't respond. I watched the casinos grow larger as we approached, their lights garish against the night sky. The Luxor Pyramid glowed golden. Pharaoh kitsch. Tessa had thought it was fun when she'd shown me the website. I checked into a different hotel nearby, something cheap and anonymous, paid cash, gave a fake name. The clerk didn't care. This was Vegas. Everyone was someone else here. My room smelled like industrial cleaning products and sadness. I sat on the bed and opened my phone. Checked Tessa's Instagram one more time. Her latest story, posted an hour ago. "Last night in paradise, not ready to go back to reality." Not ready to go back to reality. I set my phone down and stared at the wall. Tomorrow morning, reality was going to come find her, whether she was ready or not. I woke up at 6 a.m. to my alarm, showered, got dressed, checked my reflection in the bathroom mirror. I looked tired. Thinner, maybe. My eyes had that hollow quality people get when they haven't been sleeping right for weeks. Good. Let her see what she'd done. I took the elevator down to the lobby and walked out into Vegas morning. The Strip looked different in daylight. Cheaper, more desperate. The same energy, but without the darkness to hide behind. I walked to the Luxor, stood outside for a minute, letting my heart rate settle, breathing the warm air that already felt like it might crack 100 degrees by noon. Then I walked through the golden doors into the lobby. The casino floor stretched out vast and overwhelming. It was 7 in the morning, and people were already feeding dollar bills into slot machines, chasing losses, or extending wins. I couldn't tell which. I found the hotel elevators and rode up in silence. Got off on the 15th floor, found myself standing in a hallway that smelled like air conditioning and carpet cleaner. Room 1547. That's what the confirmation email had said. I stood outside the door for maybe 2 minutes. Just stood there, listening, thinking. I could knock, I could call, I could walk away. But I'd come too far to walk away now. So I waited. And at 7:43 a.m., the door opened. Tessa came out first, laughing at something over her shoulder. She was wearing yesterday's makeup and a hotel bathrobe. Her hair was messy. She looked happy. Then Brent stepped out behind her, pulling on a t-shirt. They were so focused on each other, they didn't see me at first. Didn't notice me standing there, 10 feet away, watching them exist in a reality where I didn't matter. Then Tessa turned, saw me, froze. The color drained from her face so fast I thought she might faint. "Gavin," she said. "Just my name. Nothing else." Brent looked at me, then at Tessa, then back at me. And he smiled. He actually smiled. "Hey, man," he said, like we were old friends. Like he hadn't been inside my wife for the past 3 days. "Didn't expect to see you here." I didn't respond. I just looked at Tessa. She was trying to form words. Her mouth opened and closed. Finally, "What are you doing here?" "I came to see you," I said. My voice was calm, steady. "You weren't answering your phone. I got worried." She glanced at Brent. "This isn't what it looks like." "Really?" I took a step closer. "Because it looks like you're coming out of a hotel room with another man at 7 in the morning, wearing a bathrobe, with last night's makeup still on." Brent crossed his arms. Defensive posture, trying to look bigger than he was. "Maybe you should leave, buddy." "Buddy." I let the word hang there. "That's interesting, because we're not buddies. We've never met. But you installed security cameras in my apartment 3 months ago. You've been watching me leave for work. You've been tracking when I'm home and when I'm not. You've been inside my house, my life." His smile faltered slightly. "Gavin, please." Tessa's voice had shifted to pleading. "Can we talk about this somewhere private?" "No," I said, "because private is where you've been lying. Public is where the truth lives." A door opened down the hall. An older couple stepped out, wheeling luggage. They glanced at us, at Tessa in her bathrobe, at Brent's defensive stance, at me standing perfectly still, and quickly looked away. Witnesses. Good. "You need to calm down," Brent said. "You're causing a scene." "Am I?" I turned to him. "Tell me something, Brent. Does your company know you use customer installations to stalk them? That you gave yourself admin access to monitoring accounts so you could watch your girlfriend's husband?" His jaw tightened. "You're delusional." "No, I'm thorough. I kept the receipts, the install invoice, the account registration emails, all of it." I stepped closer, close enough that he had to look up slightly to meet my eyes. "And if you want to have this conversation on a casino floor where surveillance cameras can read our lips, we can do that. Or you can shut up and let me talk to my wife." Silence. Tessa looked like she might throw up. "Gavin, I didn't think—" "You didn't think I had the nerve," I finished for her. "That's what you said Thursday, remember? Right before you told me to leave if I was going to be jealous." "Well, I left." Her eyes went wide. "What?" "I took your advice. Moved out while you were partying in Vegas. Packed everything that was mine. Changed the locks on the apartment. Wait, no. I can't change the locks because I don't control the smart lock system. You gave that access to Brent here when you had him install it." I smiled without humor. "But I did disconnect the cameras, and cancel the streaming services, and update all the utility accounts to remove your name, and move my direct deposit to a new bank account. So when you get home, you're going to find out exactly how much I was carrying." She was shaking her head. "You're lying." "Call the apartment." I pulled out my phone. "Oh, wait, you can't, because I blocked your number. But you can email me. That's still open. For legal purposes." "This is crazy," Brent said. "You can't just..." "Can't just what? Leave my own apartment? Cancel my own subscriptions? Stop paying for a life that doesn't include me?" I looked at him. Really looked at him. At his perfect hair and his perfect teeth and his absolute certainty that he was untouchable. "You thought you were clever. Both of you. But you forgot something important." "What's that?" Brent asked, still trying for cocky. I leaned in close enough to whisper, close enough that only he could hear. "I know where you work," I said quietly. "I know your boss's name. I know your company's professional conduct policy. and I know exactly how much they care about customer complaints regarding employee misconduct. I stepped back. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to delete any backups you have of my camera feeds. You're going to remove yourself from my security system entirely. And you're going to pray I decide not to file a formal complaint with your employer. His face had gone pale. And if you don't, he asked, then you'll start worrying every time your phone buzzes, every time you get called into a meeting, every time you see an email from HR. I turned back to Tessa. As for you, I'll see you in Maine with a lawyer. I walked away before either of them could respond. Down the hallway, into the elevator, through the lobby, out into the Vegas morning that was already getting too hot. My hands were shaking, my heart was pounding, but I'd done it. I'd looked them both in the eye and let them know. The game had changed, and I was winning. I made it 3 blocks before I had to stop. Not because I was tired, because the shaking wouldn't stop. My hands, my legs, everything vibrating like I'd touched a live wire. I found a bench outside a CVS pharmacy and sat down hard. Put my head between my knees and breathed. In through the nose, out through the mouth. The way my mom taught me when I was a kid having panic attacks before math tests. This wasn't panic, though. This was adrenaline crash. This was 3 days of rage and planning and execution finally catching up to my nervous system. My phone buzzed. Tessa. I'd blocked her number, but she'd figured out she could still text via iMessage. The preview showed on my lock screen. Gavin, please, we need to talk. Please don't. I swiped it away without reading the rest. Another buzz. Different number. Probably Brent. I blocked it. Another. Mallory this time. What the hell did you do? Tessa is hysterical. I turned my phone off. The sun was getting higher. The heat was building. Vegas in April felt like standing on the surface of another planet. I needed water, food, sleep, in that order. Instead, I pulled my phone back out. Habit, muscle memory, and stared at the black screen. Thought about turning it on. Didn't. A homeless guy pushing a shopping cart stopped near my bench. You look like hell, man, he said, not unkindly. Yeah, I said. I feel like it. Woman trouble? Something like that. He nodded sagely, like this was wisdom he'd earned the hard way. Best thing you can do is walk away. Don't look back. Just walk. I'm trying. Try harder. He pushed his cart onward, wheels squeaking against the sidewalk. I watched him go. Wondered what his story was. What series of decisions had led him to pushing everything he owned down the Vegas Strip at 8 in the morning, giving relationship advice to strangers. Then I stood up, found a Starbucks, bought the largest coffee they sold and a breakfast sandwich I didn't want, but knew I needed to eat. My phone buzzed in my pocket, still off. Just phantom vibrations, my brain inventing stimuli that weren't there. I ate mechanically, chewing, swallowing, barely tasting. Across the street, a couple was arguing outside a wedding chapel. The woman had a veil on. The man looked drunk. A photographer stood nearby, looking uncomfortable, probably wondering if he'd still get paid. Everyone came to Vegas for something, a fresh start, a last hurrah, a chance to be someone else. I'd come here to end something, and I had. But endings never feel as clean as you think they will. I turned my phone back on at 9 a.m. 47 messages, 12 voicemails, 3 emails. I opened the emails first, professional habit. Text could wait, but email demanded attention. The first was from the apartment complex. Tenant contact information update request. They'd received my forms. Tessa had been removed from the authorized contact list. If she wanted to be added back, she'd need to reapply and qualify on her own income. The second was from my bank. Account changes processed. The joint checking was closed. My new individual account was active. Tessa's access terminated. The third was from Tessa's personal email. I can't believe you would do this. After everything, we need to talk. You can't just run away from this. I laughed. Actually laughed, sitting there in a Vegas Starbucks at 9 a.m. on a Monday morning. The barista glanced at me nervously. Run away. That's what she thought I was doing. I closed the email without responding. The voicemails were more of the same. Tessa crying, Tessa angry, Mallory defending her. Some guy I didn't know, probably one of Brent's gym buddies, telling me I was out of line and needed to be a man about this. Be a man, right? Because real men let their wives vacation with other guys and smile while they're being humiliated. I deleted all the voicemails without listening past the first 5 seconds of each. The texts were chaos, a mix of manipulation, anger, and desperation. Tessa going through the 5 stages of grief in real time, except the grief was for herself, not for us. One message stood out, though, from an unknown number. Just 4 words. You made a mistake. I stared at that message for a long time. Then I screenshotted it, added it to my evidence folder, sent a copy to Noah with a note. Threats starting. His response came back immediately. Document everything. Don't engage and get home. You've made your point. He was right. I'd seen what I needed to see. I'd confronted them. I'd made it clear that I wasn't the harmless husband they'd assumed I'd be. Now I needed to get back to Maine and prepare for what came next. Because this wasn't over. Not even close. The flight home was delayed 3 hours. Gate change, mechanical issue. The universe's way of reminding me that I didn't control anything, even when I thought I did. I sat in a terminal chair and watched families travel. Kids with stuffed animals, parents with strollers, couples holding hands, comfortable in their certainty that they belonged together. Had Tessa and I ever looked like that? Probably. Once? Years ago. Before I became the guy who worked late and she became the girl who needed more. More what? I'd never been clear on that. More attention, more excitement, more proof that she was desirable, more than I could give, apparently. My phone buzzed again. I'd stopped putting it on silent because I needed to stay aware. Noah had made that point clearly. If she escalates, if he threatens, you need evidence. That means keeping communication open even if you don't respond. This buzz was different, though. An email notification. Not from Tessa, from someone named Dinah Kincaid. I opened it slowly. Mr. Hale, we haven't met. My name is Dinah Kincaid. I'm Brent's mother. He called me this morning very upset. I don't know what's happening between you and your wife, and frankly, that's not my business. But I need you to know that if you're planning on filing complaints about Brent's work performance, you should have all the facts first. My son made mistakes. Young people do. But he doesn't deserve to lose his career over a relationship that went wrong. Please consider that before you do anything permanent. You can reach me at this email if you'd like to discuss. Dinah. I read it twice, then I forwarded it to Noah with a note. His mother is trying to negotiate. Noah's response? That means he's scared. Good. Don't respond yet. Let her sweat. I closed my email and leaned back in the uncomfortable airport chair. Brent had called his mother. That detail felt important. Not his friends, not his boss, his mother, which meant he knew exactly how much trouble he was in. The thought should have felt like victory. Instead, it just felt empty. I didn't want to ruin Brent's career. I wasn't that guy. I just wanted him to understand consequences. Cause and effect. You invade someone's life, you don't get to walk away clean. But his mother emailing me added a complication I hadn't anticipated, made it personal in a different way. I put my phone away and tried not to think about it. The flight finally boarded at 3 p.m. I got a window seat, pressed my forehead against the glass, and watched Vegas shrink below me as we climbed. The city looked fake from above, like a circuit board, like something designed by people who'd never seen a real neighborhood and had to guess what community looked like. I slept for most of the flight, the first real sleep I'd had in days, dreamless, heavy, the kind that leaves you disoriented when you wake up. When we landed in Portland, it was dark and raining. Classic Maine welcome. I collected my bag and walked through the airport in a daze, following signs to ground transportation without really processing where I was going. Noah was waiting outside arrivals, leaning against his truck, arms crossed, looking like exactly the kind of friend you need when your life falls apart. You look terrible, he said. Thanks. Get in. I ordered pizza. We didn't talk on the drive to his place, just the sound of windshield wipers and rain and tires on wet asphalt. Comfortable silence. The kind that doesn't require explanation. Back at his apartment, we sat on the floor and ate pizza straight from the box. Noah cracked open 2 beers and handed me one without asking if I wanted it. So, he said finally. So I saw them, confronted them, made it clear I know everything. And Tessa's in denial. Brent's in panic mode. His mother emailed me trying to negotiate. I took a long drink of beer. And I still don't know what I'm going to do next. Yes, you do. I looked at him. You're going to finish this, Noah said. You're going to make sure they both understand exactly what they cost you. And you're going to do it legally, thoroughly, and without giving them any ammunition to use against you. That's the plan? That's always been the plan. He raised his beer. Welcome to the hard part. We clinked bottles. Outside, the rain kept falling. Inside, I felt something shift, settle. Noah was right. I knew what came next. I just hadn't admitted it to myself yet. But I woke up Tuesday morning to the sound of my phone exploding. Not literally, though at 6:47 a.m. it felt close enough. Buzz after buzz after buzz, the kind of notification storm that means something has gone very wrong or very right. I grabbed the phone off Noah's spare nightstand and squinted at the screen. 13 messages from Tessa, 4 from Mallory, 2 from numbers I didn't recognize, and 1 from Dina Kincaid. Please call me. This is getting out of hand. I sat up, fully awake now, scrolled through Tessa's messages. The locks are changed. I can't get into the apartment. What did you do? Gavin, answer me. The landlord says I'm not authorized. This is my home. You can't do this. I'm calling the police. I almost smiled. Almost. But the satisfaction was undercut by something else, a nagging feeling, something I'd missed. I pulled up the smart home app, the one Brent's company had installed, tried to log in. Account no longer active. I frowned. I'd disconnected the cameras, changed the ownership, but I hadn't fully deleted the account. I'd left it dormant just in case I needed it as evidence. Someone else had deleted it. I opened my laptop and pulled up the Secure Life website, found their customer service number, called. Secure Life Home Systems, this is Jennifer. How can I help you today? Hi, yeah, I had an account with you. Gavin Hale. I'm trying to access my system, but it says the account is no longer active. Keys clicking. Let me pull that up. Hale, you said? Hale? Yes. More clicking. A pause. Okay, I'm seeing here that the account was closed on Sunday evening. Looks like it was done remotely by one of our technicians. Which technician? I'm not authorized to share employee information, but she lowered her voice. Between you and me, the notes show it was the original installer. It says here he contacted you about service issues and you requested account closure. I felt something cold move through my chest. I never requested that. Oh. She sounded uncertain now. Well, your system shows that one of your employees accessed my account without permission and deleted it to cover his tracks. I kept my voice level, professional. I'm going to need you to transfer me to your supervisor, and I'm going to need copies of all account activity logs, all of them, going back to the installation date. Sir, I can't just... Yes, you can, because what your employee did is illegal. It's unauthorized access to a customer account, and if your company doesn't cooperate, my next call is to a lawyer. I paused. So, supervisor, please. She transferred me without another word. The supervisor, a man named Dennis with a tired voice, took my information and promised to look into it. I gave him my email, told him I expected those logs by end of business today. He said he'd do his best. I hung up and stared at the ceiling. Brent hadn't just been careless. He'd been systematic. He'd installed the cameras with legitimate access. He'd monitored my life for months. And when I'd confronted him, he'd erased the evidence, which meant he'd been planning this. Not just the affair, the surveillance, the control, and Tessa had helped him. I made coffee and sat at Noah's kitchen table, trying to piece it together. The timeline, February 14th, Valentine's Day. Tessa pushes for the security system. Says it's a promotion, a free trial, just pay installation. I agree because it makes her feel safe. February 16th. Brent arrives to install. Young guy, confident, professional. Makes small talk while he works. Asks questions about our schedule. When do I leave for work? When do I get home? Do we travel much? I answer because it seems normal. Friendly installer making conversation. February 17th. System is active. Tessa has the app on her phone. I download it too, but barely use it. Why would I? I'm home most of the time anyway. Late February through March. Tessa's behavior shifts. More gym time, more girls' nights, more defensiveness when I ask questions, more phone face down on counters. April. Vegas trip gets announced. Tessa's excitement feels different, not just happy to travel, happy to get away from me. And now, the pattern I'd missed. Every time I confronted her about her schedule, she'd had answers ready. Detailed answers. Specific answers about where she'd been and when and with whom, because Brent was watching the cameras. He knew when I left for work. He knew when I'd be home. He could tell Tessa exactly when it was safe to see him, when I'd be gone long enough that they could meet without risk. They'd turned my own security system into a tool for cheating. I felt sick. My phone buzzed again. Noah this time. You up? Need to talk to you. Kitchen, I texted back. He appeared 2 minutes later in gym shorts and a faded college t-shirt, holding his laptop. You see the news? What news? He set the laptop in front of me, pulled up a local news site. The headline, Portland tech company under investigation for privacy violations. I read faster. Secure Life Home Systems. Multiple complaints filed. Customers reporting unauthorized account access. Employees using installation privileges to monitor homes without consent. Holy hell, I breathed. It gets better. Noah scrolled down. Look at the companies mentioned, Secure Life and 3 others, all of them doing the same thing, installing systems and keeping access. This is bigger than just Brent. Way bigger. This is an industry problem, which means my complaint isn't going to get buried. I looked up at Noah. They're going to investigate. They have to. And when they do, they're going to find out exactly what Brent did to you. Noah grinned. You accidentally stumbled into the middle of a scandal. I should have felt vindicated. Instead, I just felt tired. Tessa's locked out of the apartment, I said. She's been texting all morning. Good. Let her figure it out. And Brent's mother wants me to call her. Noah's expression darkened. About what? Begging me not to file complaints, saying he's young, he made mistakes, he doesn't deserve to lose his career. He absolutely deserves to lose his career. I know, but I rubbed my face. His mother seems nice, and she's right that he's young and stupid, and he used your security system to stalk you so he could plan an affair with your wife. Noah leaned across the table. Stop trying to be fair. Fair is for people who play by the rules. These people don't. He was right. I knew he was right. But something about Dina's email had gotten under my skin. The way she'd written it. Polite. Respectful. A mother trying to protect her son from consequences he'd earned. I need to think, I said. No, you need to act. File the complaint. Today. Let Secure Life deal with it. Let Brent explain himself to his bosses. Let the investigation proceed. I pulled up my email and started drafting. The complaint took me an hour to write. I kept it factual. Dates, times, screenshots, installation receipt, account activity I documented before Brent deleted it. I didn't editorialize, didn't add emotional commentary. Just, this happened, then this, then this. I believe this constitutes unauthorized access and violation of customer privacy. I copied my email to Secure Life Customer Service, their corporate headquarters, and their compliance department. Blind copied myself for records. Then I hit send before I could second guess it. Done? Noah asked from the doorway. Done. How do you feel? Like I just burned a bridge I can't rebuild. Good. That bridge was rotted anyway. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me. Hello? Mr. Hale. This is Dennis from Secure Life. We spoke earlier? Yeah. I've pulled the account logs you requested, and I need to inform you that I'm escalating your complaint to our legal team. What I'm seeing here is... He paused, chose his words carefully. It's concerning. Very concerning. Someone on our team is going to contact you directly. Probably today. Okay. And Mr. Hale, I'm sorry. This shouldn't have happened. He hung up. I set my phone down and looked at Noah. What? He asked. They're taking it seriously. Of course they are. You've got evidence. No, I mean really seriously. Their legal team, not just customer service. Noah's grin could have split his face. Because they know they're exposed. They know if this goes public, they're done. So they're going to throw Brent under the bus so hard he'll need a miracle to recover. I should have felt good about that. I didn't. I just felt empty. The rest of Tuesday passed in a blur. Phone calls from Secure Life's legal department. Questions about dates, times, account access. Did I give permission for this? Did I know about that? Could I provide documentation? I could. I did. I documented everything. By evening, they'd confirmed it. Brent Kincaid had maintained admin access to my account after installation. He'd monitored camera feeds regularly. He'd accessed the system remotely on dates and times that couldn't be explained by customer service needs, and he'd deleted the account on Sunday without authorization. We're suspending Mr. Kincaid pending investigation, the legal rep told me, and we'll be conducting a full audit of all his installations to see if there are other victims. Other victims, that's what I was now. A victim. I thanked her and hung up, sat on Noah's couch and stared at nothing. My phone buzzed. Tessa, I know what you did. You got Brent fired. You're ruining people's lives because you can't handle me being happy. I read that message 3 times. Then I typed back. The first response I'd sent her since Vegas. He ruined his own life. And yours. I just documented it. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Finally. I hate you. I know, I typed. but at least now we're both being honest. I blocked her number for real this time. No more iMessage loopholes, just complete silence. Then I opened a beer and tried to figure out what to do next, because Brent losing his job wasn't enough. Tessa being locked out wasn't enough. I needed them to understand, really understand, and I was just getting started. Wednesday morning, I woke up to an email from a law firm. Potential representation, separation, divorce proceedings. I stared at that subject line for a full minute before opening it. The email was brief, professional. A local attorney named Catherine Liu had been recommended to me by, I had to read it twice to believe it, Dina Kincaid. Ms. Kincaid reached out to our firm on your behalf. She explained the circumstances and suggested you might benefit from legal counsel. While we typically don't take referrals this way, your situation seems complex enough to warrant a consultation. If you're interested in discussing representation, please call our office to schedule. I showed the email to Noah over coffee. Brent's mother referred you to a divorce lawyer, he said slowly. That's either really generous or really calculated. Both, probably. You going to call? I don't know. But I did know I needed a lawyer. Not because I wanted to take Tessa for everything, I didn't, but because I needed someone who could help me separate our lives cleanly, legally, without leaving anything she could use against me later. I called and scheduled a consultation for Friday. Then I turned my attention to the other immediate problem, my apartment. The lease was in my name, that was clear, but Tessa had been living there, or she had possessions there, and Maine law was fuzzy on the rights of non-tenant cohabitants in separation situations. I needed to be careful. I called the landlord. A man named Richard Dumont, mid-60s, retired military, ran his properties like they were still under his command. Gavin, he said when he picked up, I got your forms, updated everything like you asked. Thanks, I appreciate it. Your wife called yesterday, very upset. I'm sure she was. She wanted me to let her back in, said you'd locked her out illegally, he paused. I told her the apartment's leased to you, not her. She's got no legal standing, that correct? That's correct. Good. Just wanted to make sure I wasn't stepping in something. Another pause. You filing for divorce? Working on it. Smart. Clean breaks better than dragging it out. He coughed. Listen, I don't usually give advice on personal matters, but since you're a good tenant, don't let her back in unless there's a police escort or a court order. She comes back alone, calls the cops saying you changed locks on her, you're going to have a headache even if you're legally right. Noted. And Gavin? Change the locks anyway, just to be safe. I thanked him and hung up. Then I called a locksmith. The locksmith arrived at noon. Young guy, maybe 25, with a tool belt that looked like it weighed more than he did. Standard deadbolt replacement, he asked. Yeah, and I want the smart lock system removed completely. He frowned. The Secure Life one? You know it? Know it? Man, we've been getting calls all week removing those things. Something about a scandal, privacy violations. You're like the 8th person this month. Can you do it today? Sure, but just so you know, those systems are integrated. I pull out the smart lock, you'll need a standard deadbolt. And the doorbell camera, that's wired into your building's system. I can't touch that without property owner permission. Just do what you can. He got to work. 40 minutes later, the smart lock was gone. The doorbell camera was disabled, and I had a new deadbolt with new keys. The locksmith handed me 3 copies. One for you, one for your landlord as required by lease, and one spare. I paid him cash and tipped extra. After he left, I stood in the apartment for a while, looking around. It still didn't feel like home, but it felt more like mine than it had in months. I walked through each room, checked closets, drawers, looking for anything Tessa might have hidden, anything that could surprise me later. In the bedroom closet, tucked behind a box of winter sweaters, I found a shoebox. Inside, greeting cards, love notes, small gifts, a bracelet I'd never seen before, a receipt from a restaurant dated 3 months ago, a place I'd never been, evidence of a relationship I hadn't known existed. I photographed everything, then I sealed the box and put it in my car trunk. More evidence, more documentation. My phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. You're making this worse. I stared at it. Knew immediately it was Brent. How did you get this number? I typed back. Doesn't matter. You need to stop. My job, my life. You're destroying everything. You destroyed it yourself. I made a mistake. I was trying to help Tessa. She was unhappy. You know she was unhappy. I almost laughed. Typed, so you decided to monitor my house and plan an affair. Very helpful. It wasn't like that. Then what was it like? 3 dots. Then nothing. I screenshotted the conversation and sent it to my new lawyer's email with a note. Subject is likely Brent Kincaid, suspended employee of Secure Life. Background attached. Then I blocked the number. Thursday, I met with Catherine Liu. Her office was in a renovated mill building in downtown Portland. Exposed brick, tall windows, the kind of place that charged premium rates and earned them. Catherine was maybe 40, sharp-dressed, with the kind of direct eye contact that made you sit up straighter. "Mr. Hale, thanks for coming in. Thanks for seeing me on short notice. Dina Kincaid spoke highly of you. She's very concerned about this situation." "She's concerned about her son." "She is, but she also seems to genuinely feel bad about what happened to you." Catherine pulled out a folder. "I've reviewed the summary you emailed. Let's talk about what you want out of this." "I want a clean separation. Divorce, no drama, no drawn-out court battles." "That's reasonable. Any children?" "No." "Shared property?" "Not much. We were renting. Most furniture and possessions are clearly mine based on receipts and purchase history." "Joint accounts?" "One checking account. I've already closed it and moved my funds." "Good. That was smart." She made notes. "Your wife is going to argue you locked her out of her home and cut off her access to shared funds. How do we counter that?" I pulled out my folder. Lease in my name. Bank statements showing my income paid all bills. Documentation that she had access to funds but chose not to contribute. Proof I'd given her notice before making changes. Catherine reviewed everything, nodded slowly. "You're thorough." "I'm a logistics manager. I solve problems." "This is more than a logistics problem, Mr. Hale. This is emotional, messy. And if your wife hires an aggressive attorney, they're going to paint you as controlling, vengeful, and abusive. Even though I'm not. Even though you're not. Because that's how separation works. Whoever tells the better story wins." She closed the folder. "So we need to make sure our story is airtight, documented, defensible." "It is." "Then we'll file for separation first. Get ahead of any narrative she tries to build. Establish that you're the reasonable party seeking clean resolution." "What about Brent?" Catherine's expression hardened. "What about him?" "She's going to claim I sabotaged his career out of revenge." "Did you?" "I filed a legitimate complaint based on documented misconduct." "Then there's nothing to defend? He sabotaged his own career?" She leaned forward. "Mr. Hale, I'm going to be direct with you. You're in a good position legally. Strong documentation, clear separation of assets, no children complicating custody. But emotionally? You're a mess. I can see it. Anyone can see it." I didn't argue. "So here's my advice," she continued. "File the paperwork. Let the process work. But don't do anything stupid. Don't confront your wife again. Don't engage with Brent. Don't post on social media. Don't try to publicly shame anyone. Just let the documentation do the work. What if they escalate? Then we respond legally. With lawyers. With evidence. Not with emotion." She handed me a business card. "Call me if anything changes. Otherwise, I'll have the separation paperwork ready for you to review next week." I left her office feeling both better and worse. Better because I had a plan. Worse because the plan required patience I wasn't sure I had. Friday evening, I was back at Noah's, sitting on his couch, drinking a beer I didn't really want, when my phone rang. Dina Kincaid. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. "Mr. Hale?" "Ms. Kincaid." "I wanted to apologize. For my son. For everything that's happened." I didn't respond. "I raised him better than this," she continued. "I don't know what he was thinking, violating your privacy, helping your wife." She stopped, started again. "There's no excuse. I just wanted you to know that I'm sorry, and that I'm not asking you to drop your complaint. You have every right to pursue it. Then why are you calling?" "Because I want you to understand that Brent is facing consequences, real ones. He's suspended from work. He might lose his job. His apartment lease is up next month, and without income, he can't afford to renew. He's scared, and he should be." "Good." "Mr. Hale?" "He watched me," I said quietly. "Through cameras he installed in my home. He tracked my schedule so he could sleep with my wife without me knowing. He deleted evidence to cover his tracks. And now he's facing consequences. That's not my fault. That's his." Silence. "You're right," she said finally. "I'm sorry I called." "Wait." I stopped her before she could hang up. "Why did you refer me to Catherine Liu?" "Because you need a good lawyer, and because Brent needs to see what happens when you hurt people. Maybe if you win cleanly, legally, thoroughly, maybe he'll learn something." That's an expensive lesson. Some lessons are. She hung up. I sat there holding my phone, trying to process that conversation. What was that about? Noah asked from the kitchen. Brent's mother apologizing. Weird. Yeah. But it wasn't weird. It was strategic. Dina was a mother trying to protect her son while also acknowledging he'd screwed up. She couldn't stop the consequences, so she was trying to manage them. I respected that, even if I hated what her son had done. My phone buzzed again. This time it was a notification from Instagram. Tessa had posted a story. I opened it against my better judgment. A photo of herself, tear-streaked, looking vulnerable. The caption? When you realize the person you trusted most was planning to destroy you all along, pray for me. Comments were already flooding in. What happened? Are you okay? Who hurt you? Mallory had already chimed in. You deserve so much better. Some people can't handle a strong woman. I screenshotted it, sent it to Catherine with a note. Public smear campaign has begun. Her response came back in under a minute. Do not engage. Do not respond. Let her dig her own hole. We'll use this in court if needed. So I did nothing. Just watched as Tessa tried to rewrite history in real time, turning herself into the victim of a controlling husband who couldn't handle her independence. The comments kept coming. People I'd never met taking her side, offering support, calling me names I couldn't even see because she'd blocked me from the post. But I had screenshots, and screenshots don't lie. Noah handed me another beer. You okay? No, but I will be. Right, you will. We sat in silence for a while, just drinking, existing. Outside, the Portland rain started up again, steady, relentless. Inside, I started planning the next move. Because Tessa wanted to play victim? Fine. I'd show everyone exactly who the real victim was. And I'd do it so cleanly, so thoroughly, so legally that no one could dispute it. The game was changing again. And this time, I wasn't just playing. I was winning. Saturday morning started with a lie. Tessa posted on Instagram at 8 a.m., moving forward with grace and dignity. Some battles aren't worth fighting, sending love to everyone who supported me through this difficult time. Grace and dignity. Right. I was reading this while sitting in Noah's truck outside a Dunkin' Donuts, drinking coffee that tasted like cardboard and regret. Noah was inside grabbing breakfast sandwiches. My phone kept buzzing with updates, people commenting on Tessa's post, offering sympathy, calling me everything from toxic to narcissistic, without knowing a single fact. I'd stopped reading the comments after the 15th one. Catherine Liu had texted me at 7 a.m., saw the Instagram post, do not respond, let her perform. Documentation speaks louder than social media. So I was documenting. Screenshots, timestamps, every post, every comment, every lie. Noah climbed back into the truck with a bag of sandwiches. You see this garbage? I saw it. Mallory's in the comments saying you were emotionally unavailable for years, that you worked late to avoid Tessa, that the marriage was over long before Vegas. She's building a narrative, a false one. Doesn't matter, people believe what they want to believe. I unwrapped my sandwich without much appetite. Half of those commenters don't even know us. They're just performing outrage for likes. Noah started the truck. So what's the plan today? I need to go back to the apartment, get the rest of my stuff, make sure there's nothing left that she can hold hostage. You want backup? Yeah. We drove through Portland in Saturday morning traffic, tourists starting to flood in for the season, families walking to breakfast spots, people living normal lives while mine was disintegrating in real time on social media. My phone buzzed again. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. Then I saw the preview. We need to talk. In person. Today. Brent. You've got to be kidding me, I muttered. Noah glanced over. What? Brent wants to meet. Tell him no. I typed back, no. 3 dots appeared immediately. Then, please, face to face. I'll explain everything. You deserve that. I deserve that, I read aloud, like he's doing me a favor. Block him. But something stopped me. Maybe curiosity. Maybe the desire to see him squirm in person. Maybe just the need to finish this face-to-face instead of through screens and lawyers. Where? I typed. Coffee shop on Congress Street, noon, public place, just talk. I showed Noah. That's a trap, he said immediately. Maybe. Definitely. He's either going to try to intimidate you or record you saying something he can use against you. Or he's genuinely panicking and doesn't know what else to do. Noah pulled into my apartment complex parking lot. And if it's a trap? Then I walk away. Public place. Witnesses? What's he going to do? I'm coming with you. No, if you're there, he won't talk. He'll clam up. I need him to say things, make mistakes. Noah killed the engine and turned to face me. You're playing a dangerous game. I know. And you're doing it anyway. Yeah. He sighed. At least let me wait nearby. Text me every 15 minutes. If I don't hear from you, I'm coming in. Deal. We spent the next 2 hours clearing out my apartment. Everything left that was mine. Books I'd forgotten about, a winter coat in the back of the closet, a box of old college textbooks I'd kept meaning to donate. The place was looking sparse now. Tessa's things everywhere, her decorative pillows, her wall art, her entire aesthetic taking over now that my stuff was gone. Good. Let her have it. Let her pay for it. I did one final sweep. Checked every drawer, every cabinet, every corner. Found a USB drive in my desk that I'd forgotten about. Old work files, probably. I pocketed it anyway. In the bathroom, I found one of my razors still in the cabinet. Strange. I thought I'd gotten them all. I grabbed it. Then I noticed something else. The medicine cabinet was open slightly. Inside, pushed to the back behind Tessa's vitamins. A prescription bottle. I pulled it out. Birth control pills. In Tessa's name. Date filled 2 weeks ago. The month's supply was full, unopened. I stared at that bottle for a long time. We talked about kids. Not seriously, not with timelines, but in that abstract future planning way couples do. Maybe in a few years. When we're more stable. When the time is right. She'd told me she was taking these. Told me we were being careful, being responsible, but the bottle was full, which meant either she'd stopped taking them recently or she'd never picked up this refill or she had another bottle somewhere, one she was actually using. I photographed the label, added it to my evidence folder, put the bottle back exactly where I'd found it. Then I walked out of that bathroom and out of that apartment and locked the door behind me with my new key. Noah was waiting by the truck. Find anything? Yeah, questions I don't want answers to. At 11:45, Noah dropped me off 2 blocks from the coffee shop on Congress Street. 15-minute check-ins, he reminded me, and if anything feels wrong, I leave, I know. I'm serious, Gavin. This guy has already proven he's willing to violate boundaries. Don't assume he'll play fair now. I won't. I walked the 2 blocks slowly, giving myself time to settle, to prepare. The coffee shop was one of those aggressively hip Portland places with exposed brick and reclaimed wood tables and a chalkboard menu that required decoding. Weekend crowd, loud, good. Brent was already there, sitting in the back corner at a small table, 2 coffee cups in front of him. He'd bought me a drink. The presumption of that made my jaw tight. I walked over, didn't sit immediately, just stood there looking at him. He looked bad, thinner than he'd been in Vegas, dark circles under his eyes. His usual confidence dimmed to something that looked almost like fear. Thanks for coming, he said. I sat, didn't touch the coffee he'd bought. You have 10 minutes. I know you hate me. I don't hate you. I don't know you well enough to hate you. You're just a problem I'm solving. He flinched. That's cold? You monitored my home for months. You helped my wife plan an affair. You deleted evidence to cover your tracks. And now you want sympathy? I leaned back. 10 minutes. Talk. Brent wrapped his hands around his coffee cup. I didn't plan any of this. It just happened. Nothing just happens. I met Tessa at the gym. She was friendly. We talked. She mentioned she was married, but that things were tough. That you were distant, always working, never present. And you believed her. Why wouldn't I? She seemed genuine. And she was... He stopped. She was what? She was paying attention to me. You know? Like I mattered. Like what I said was interesting. He looked up. I'm not trying to justify it. I'm just saying I didn't set out to wreck your marriage. But you did? Yeah, I did. The security cameras, I said. That was planned. That was her idea. I felt something cold move through my chest. Explain. She asked me to install them, said she wanted to feel safer when you were working late, but then she asked me to keep admin access, said it would be easier if something went wrong, that you weren't good with technology and she didn't want to deal with troubleshooting. And you said yes. I thought I was helping her. You thought you were getting access to monitor when I was home and when I wasn't. He didn't deny it. Brent, I kept my voice level. You're a grown man. You know what you did. Don't insult me by pretending it was innocent. Silence. I'm suspended, he said finally. Probably going to be fired. The company's doing an audit of all my installations. If they find anything else, and they will because I was stupid, I'm done. Not just fired, blacklisted. I'll never work in tech again. Good. My mother called you. She did. What did she say? That you're facing consequences. That you should. He nodded slowly, looked at his coffee. I deserve this. I know I do. But Tessa, she's going to walk away clean. She's already spinning it like you're the villain. Like I was just some guy she talked to at the gym and you went psycho. Let her spin it. She's lying. I know. I have evidence. What kind of evidence? I smiled without warmth. The kind that stands up in court. Documents, screenshots, timestamps, bank records, security logs. I leaned forward. You deleted the camera footage, but you didn't delete the access logs, or the installation records, or the account activity history that shows you logging in remotely at odd hours. His face went pale. Secure Life gave me everything, I continued, because they are trying to avoid a lawsuit, and when my lawyer presents that evidence in separation proceedings, Tessa's narrative falls apart. You're going to destroy her. No, I'm going to tell the truth. There's a difference. Brent was quiet for a long moment. Then, what do you want from me? Nothing. You've already given me everything I need. Then why did you agree to meet? Because I wanted to see if you'd take responsibility, if you'd be honest, if you'd own what you did. I stood up. You didn't. You blamed Tessa. You blamed circumstances. You blamed everything except yourself. That's not fair. Neither is surveillance, neither is lying, neither is any of this. I looked down at him. Stay away from me. Stay away from Tessa. And when the lawyers call, tell the truth. That's all I want from you. I turned to leave. Gavin. I stopped. Didn't turn around. I'm sorry, he said quietly. I know it doesn't matter, but I am. You're right, I said. It doesn't matter. I walked out. I made it halfway down the block before the shaking started. Not fear, adrenaline. The confrontation had been calm on the surface, but my body was only now processing it. Fight or flight response on a 15-minute delay. I texted Noah. Done. Walking back. His response? How'd it go? He tried to play victim. Didn't work. Heading your way. I put my phone in my pocket and kept walking. The Portland streets were crowded with Saturday shoppers, couples holding hands, families with strollers, normal people living normal lives. I felt like an alien walking among them. Then I heard footsteps behind me. Fast. Getting closer. I turned. Brent, jogging to catch up. His face flushed. Angry now. We're not done, he said. Yes, we are. You don't get to walk away like that. You don't get to ruin my life and then just leave. People were starting to notice. A woman with a shopping bag crossed the street. A man with a dog pulled his pet closer. Brent, go home. You think you're so smart, so in control, but you're not. You're just a guy who couldn't keep his wife happy. I felt my hands curl into fists, force them to relax. Walk away. Make me. And there it was. The challenge. The alpha male posturing. The thing he'd been building to this whole time. He wanted me to hit him, wanted me to lose control, give him something he could use, something he could show the police or Tessa or anyone who'd listen, proof that I was the unstable one. I smiled. No, I said. His expression shifted. Confusion, then anger. You're a coward, he spat. Maybe, but I'm a coward who's winning. I turned and walked away. Deliberately. Slowly. Like he wasn't worth running from. He followed. I'm not done talking to you. Yes, you are. I kept walking. He kept following. The distance between us may be 10 feet. His footsteps loud on the pavement. People were definitely watching now. Good. I pulled out my phone, opened the voice memo app, started recording, held it at my side where Brent couldn't see. You can't just ignore me, he said behind me. I didn't respond. Tessa was right about you. You're cold, emotionless. No wonder she needed someone else. Still didn't respond. Hey, I'm talking to you. I reached a busier intersection, crossed with the light. Brent followed. A man in a business suit stopped. You okay? He asked me. I'm fine. He's just leaving. I looked back at Brent. Aren't you? Brent's face was red now. This isn't over. Yes, it is. I nodded to the businessman. Thanks for checking. The man looked at Brent. You need to back off, buddy. This is between me and him. Not anymore, it's not. The businessman pulled out his phone. You following this man? Brent finally seemed to realize how this looked. Him following me down a public street, multiple witnesses, someone ready to call the police. He stopped, stood there on the sidewalk. Breathing hard, I kept walking. Behind me, I heard the businessman say, "You need to go the other direction, now." I didn't look back. Just kept walking until I found Noah's truck parked 2 blocks away. I climbed in, stopped the voice recording, sent it to Catherine with a note. Brent followed and harassed me on Congress Street. Multiple witnesses. Recorded audio attached. Noah looked at me. What happened? He followed me, tried to provoke a fight. Didn't work. You get it on recording? Every word. Good. Noah started the truck. Because that's going to matter when Tessa tries to paint you as the aggressor. We drove in silence for a while. You think he'll try again? Noah asked. No, he's scared now. He knows he messed up. Again. And Tessa? She's going to escalate. She has to. Because the truth is coming and she knows it. My phone buzzed. Instagram notification. Tessa had posted again. A photo of herself looking sad and vulnerable. The caption? When you try to have a conversation and get threatened instead. Blocking negativity? Choosing peace? She was already spinning the coffee shop meeting. Even though she hadn't been there, even though she didn't know what had happened, I screenshotted it, added it to the folder. She's getting desperate, Noah observed. Yeah. That's when people make mistakes. Yeah. I leaned back against the seat and closed my eyes. Tomorrow was Sunday. 1 week since she'd left for Vegas. 1 week since I'd taken her advice and walked away. It felt like a year. But I was still standing, still moving forward, still winning, and I wasn't done yet. That night I couldn't sleep. I lay on the bed in Noah's spare room and stared at the ceiling, replaying the day, the meeting with Brent, the chase down Congress Street, the businessman stepping in. I kept thinking about what Brent had said. Tessa's going to walk away clean. Was she? On paper, she'd lose the apartment, lose access to my income, lose the comfortable life she'd built on my work. But socially, she was already winning that battle. Instagram comments flooded with support, friends taking her side, strangers offering sympathy without knowing the truth. Catherine had said to let it go, let her dig her own hole, trust the documentation. But what if the documentation wasn't enough? What if the court of public opinion mattered more than the court of law? I grabbed my phone, opened my photo library, scrolled through the evidence I'd collected, the Vegas hotel confirmation showing 2 guests, the Venmo payments to Brent, the calendar entries with B lunch and B gym, the security system access logs showing Brent logging in remotely, the birth control prescription, the shoebox full of cards and gifts from someone who wasn't me. All of it true, all of it documented, all of it proof. But was it enough? My phone buzzed. Text from Catherine. Saw your recording. This is excellent evidence. If he contacts you again, do not respond. Forward immediately to me. We may need a restraining order. I typed back, understood. Then I opened a new note on my phone and started writing. Not a plan. Not yet. Just thoughts, possibilities. How to make sure Tessa didn't walk away clean. How to make sure everyone who'd supported her lies knew the truth. How to do it legally, thoroughly, permanently. By the time I finished, it was 3 a.m., and I had a plan. Monday morning, I woke up to an email from Secure Life's legal department. Account investigation, final report. I sat up in bed and opened it with hands that weren't quite steady. The email was long, technical, but the summary was clear. Brent Kincaid had maintained unauthorized administrative access to 17 customer accounts beyond the standard installation period. He had remotely accessed camera feeds and system controls on multiple occasions without customer service tickets to justify the access. And he had deleted account data on at least 4 occasions, including mine, to conceal his activity. Secure Life was terminating his employment effective immediately. They were also conducting a review of their installation protocols and offering affected customers, including me, a full refund plus complimentary replacement services from a different vendor. I forwarded the email to Catherine with a note. This is what we'll use in separation proceedings. Her response came back in minutes. Perfect. This establishes pattern of misconduct and supports your timeline. Also suggests Tessa was aware of improper access, which undermines any claim that you're being paranoid or controlling. I got dressed and made coffee. Noah was already gone. Early shift at work. I had the apartment to myself. I sat at the kitchen table and opened my laptop. Time to execute phase 2 of the plan I drafted at 3 a.m. First, Brent's employer. Secure Life had already fired him, but he'd mentioned he was a sales rep, which meant he probably had clients, accounts, a pipeline. I pulled up LinkedIn, found his profile, scrolled through his connections. There, a client who'd tagged him in a testimonial 6 months ago. Great working with Brent. He really understands security needs for small businesses. I clicked on the client's profile. Small marketing firm. Local. Maybe 20 employees. I opened a new email, kept it professional, factual. Dear client name, I'm writing to inform you of a situation involving Brent Kincaid that may affect your business security. Mr. Kincaid was recently terminated from Secure Life for unauthorized access to customer accounts and privacy violations. If he installed or maintains any security systems for your business, I recommend having them audited by a third party to ensure no unauthorized access remains. This is not a legal threat, just information you deserve to have as a business owner. Sincerely, Gavin Hale. I sent it. Then I found 2 more clients he'd tagged. Sent them similar emails, not a mass campaign, just 3 messages. 3 businesses that deserve to know their security systems might be compromised. Legal, factual, defensible, but damaging. Second, Tessa's employer. She worked part-time for a wellness brand. Small company, maybe 10 people total. They sold supplements and fitness plans to women. Very image-conscious, very brand-aware. I pulled up their website, found the About Us page. Tessa's bio was there. Tessa Hale, marketing coordinator. Passionate about wellness, authenticity, and empowering women to be their best selves. Authenticity. That word sat in my chest like broken glass. I scrolled to the contact page, found the owner's email, opened a new message. This one was harder to write. I didn't want to seem vindictive, didn't want to come across as a bitter husband trying to get revenge through her job. But Tessa had been using work accounts to communicate with Brent. I'd seen the emails on her tablet, messages sent from her company address, calendar invites scheduled during work hours. That was misuse of company resources. And if I could prove it, I stopped, deleted the draft. Catherine's voice in my head. Don't do anything stupid. Don't try to publicly shame anyone. Just let the documentation do the work. This crossed a line. This wasn't defense. This was offense. I closed the laptop. Third, the car. Brent drove a white Audi A4. Lease probably, given his age and job. I'd seen it in the parking lot of my apartment complex twice. Once in February when he'd installed the cameras. Once last week when he'd been idling outside watching my place. I didn't know where he lived now, but I knew where he worked, or used to work. Secure Life had an office in the industrial park off Route 1. If Brent's car was there, if he was cleaning out his desk or picking up final paperwork, I could... Slash his tires? Key the paint? Pour sugar in the gas tank? All of those were criminal, provable, stupid. I needed something else. Something legal but devastating. Something that would hurt without giving him ammunition to use against me. Then I remembered. Noah had mentioned that Brent always parked in the gym's reserved tenant spot. The gym near my old apartment. The one where he and Tessa had met. That gym had rules, strict rules, reserved parking for members only. Violators would be towed at owner's expense. I drove to the gym, parked across the street, waited. 40 minutes later, Brent's Audi pulled into the lot and parked in a reserved space. He got out, gym bag over his shoulder, and walked inside without looking around. I called the towing company whose sign was posted in the lot. Yeah, hi, there's a car parked in a reserved space at the gym on Brighton, white Audi, license plate. I read it off. Owner's been there multiple times, I'm a tenant, and I'm tired of people violating the rules. We'll send someone out. How long? 20 to 30 minutes. Perfect. I waited. Watched. Brent was inside for maybe 25 minutes. When he came out, his car was gone. The look on his face, confusion shifting to anger, shifting to panic, was worth the hour I'd spent waiting. He pulled out his phone, started calling, probably the gym, then probably the towing company. I took a photo of him standing there in the empty parking space, sent it to Noah with a caption, "Consequences." Noah's response, "Cold, I love it." Fourth, social media. Catherine had told me not to post, not to engage, not to publicly shame, but she hadn't said I couldn't tell the truth. I opened Instagram, created a new post, not a photo, just text on a plain background. Simple, clean. Some clarity. I didn't go crazy when my wife went to Vegas. I calmly moved out while she was gone, exactly as she suggested. I didn't lock her out of our home. I separated myself from an apartment leased solely in my name. I didn't ruin anyone's career. I filed a legitimate complaint about privacy violations that an investigation confirmed. I'm not seeking revenge. I'm seeking a clean legal separation from a person who chose to have an affair while using security cameras in our home to plan it. If that makes me the villain in someone else's story, I can live with that. The truth is documented. The lawyers have it. That's all that matters. I posted it. Then I turned off comments, made my account private, and logged out. Let Tessa and Mallory spin that. By Tuesday afternoon, the fallout was starting. Brent's car had cost him $400 in towing and storage fees. One of the clients I'd emailed had responded thanking me and saying they were scheduling an immediate security audit. And my Instagram post had been screenshotted and shared across multiple group chats. I knew because 3 mutual acquaintances texted me asking if I was okay. I responded to all 3 the same way. I'm fine, just ready for this to be over. Tessa had posted her own response. No direct mention of me, but the implication was clear. When people try to control the narrative by playing victim while actively harming others, trust your gut. Believe people's actions, not their words. Mallory had chimed in with her own post. Some men can't handle rejection without trying to destroy the woman who rejected them. This is textbook manipulation. The comment sections were predictable, half supporting Tessa, half questioning her. A few brave souls pointing out that my Instagram post had been factual, while hers had been vague accusations. I screenshotted everything and sent it to Catherine. Her response, she's hurting her own case. Let her keep talking. Every post digs the hole deeper. Wednesday, I got a call from an unknown number. Almost didn't answer, but something made me. Mr. Hale, this is Dennis from Secure Life. We spoke last week? I remember. I wanted to give you a personal update. Brent Kincaid's termination is finalized. We've also begun reaching out to all his previous clients to offer free security audits. Your complaint helped us identify a serious systematic problem. I wanted to thank you. You're welcome. Also, he paused. Off the record? He tried to claim that you fabricated evidence, that you hacked into his accounts to make it look like he was accessing yours. I almost laughed. And what did you find? That the access logs are server-side, impossible to fake, and that his story had more holes than a screen door. Another pause. He's threatening to sue us for wrongful termination. Will he? He might try, but he doesn't have a case. We have documentation, we followed protocol, and honestly, his lawyer will tell him the same thing once they see the evidence. Good. Mr. Hale, I know this has been difficult for you. I'm sorry our company's failures contributed to it. Thank you. I hung up and sat quietly for a moment. Brent was threatening lawsuits. Tessa was posting vague accusations. And I was just here, calm, documented, winning. It felt hollow, but it felt necessary. Thursday morning, I met with Catherine again. She had the separation paperwork ready for review. 23 pages of legal language that essentially said, these 2 people are ending their marriage and splitting their minimal assets cleanly. It's straightforward, she explained. No alimony, no shared property beyond what's already been divided. Clean break. You sign, she signs, we file. In 6 months, it's final. Will she sign? Eventually. She doesn't have much choice. The apartment's in your name. The accounts are separated. And if she fights, we go to court with all your documentation and she loses anyway, just more expensively. What about her allegations? What allegations? That you're controlling? We have evidence you gave her freedom and she used it to plan an affair. That you're vindictive? We have evidence you filed legitimate complaints that investigations confirmed. That you locked her out. We have lease documents proving the apartment was never hers legally. Catherine closed the folder. She can say whatever she wants on Instagram. Court operates on evidence, and we have it all. When do we serve her? Friday. I've hired a process server. She'll receive the paperwork at her mother's house. That's where our investigator says she's staying. She's at her mother's? Has been since she got back from Vegas. Apparently told her mom you kicked her out and she has nowhere to go. I felt a pang of guilt. Pushed it down. She could have found her own place. Could have qualified for an apartment on her own income. Could have. Didn't. That's not your problem. Right. Gavin. Catherine leaned forward. You're doing everything right. You're being calm, legal, thorough. But I need you to prepare for what comes next. What comes next? She's going to escalate. When she gets served, when she realizes this is real, she's going to panic. And panic makes people dangerous. Not physically, I'm not worried about that. But emotionally, socially. She's going to try one last big play to flip the narrative. Like what? I don't know, but I've seen it before. The spouse who's losing control makes one final dramatic gesture, a public post, a confrontation, something designed to make you look bad or make them look sympathetic. She held my gaze. When it happens, you do nothing. You document, you send it to me, and you let me handle it. Understood? Understood. I left her office feeling both prepared and anxious. Prepared because I had a lawyer, documentation, a plan. Anxious because Catherine was right. Tessa wasn't done yet, and neither was I. Friday evening, the process server confirmed delivery. Tessa Hale received separation paperwork at 4:47 p.m. at her mother's residence in Cape Elizabeth. She signed for receipt, appeared shocked, asked if she could refuse service. I explained she could not. I thanked the server and hung up. Then I waited. It took 17 minutes for my phone to explode. First text from Mallory. You served her? On a Friday night? You are unbelievable. Then from a number I didn't recognize. You're going to regret this. You think you can just throw away 7 years? Then another unknown number. Tessa is devastated. You served her separation papers. Without even trying to talk. Without counseling. You're a coward. I blocked all 3 numbers and kept waiting. The call came at 5:23 p.m. Tessa's mother. I'd always gotten along with Linda. She was practical, kind, fair. Gavin. Linda. You served my daughter with divorce papers. Separation papers, and yes. Without talking to her first? I tried to talk to her in Vegas. It didn't go well. Silence. Then, she said you ambushed her in a hotel hallway, threatened her boyfriend, made a scene. Her boyfriend was the man who installed cameras in my apartment and used them to monitor when I was home so he could plan an affair with her. And I didn't threaten anyone. I stated facts. More silence. Linda, I'm not trying to hurt Tessa. I'm trying to end this cleanly. She can sign the papers, we can both move on, or she can fight it and make it expensive and painful for everyone. That's her choice. She doesn't want a separation. She wants to work it out. Then she shouldn't have gone to Vegas with another man. She shouldn't have lied for months. She shouldn't have helped someone spy on me in my own home. I kept my voice level, calm. I'm done, Linda. I took her advice. She told me to leave if I was going to be jealous. I left. That's all this is. You're being cruel. No, I'm being clear. There's a difference. She hung up. I sat there holding my phone, feeling the weight of that conversation. Linda had always liked me, had always treated me like family. And now I was the villain in her daughter's story because Tessa had gotten there first with her version. My phone buzzed again. Instagram notification. Tessa had posted. I opened it against my better judgment. A photo of the separation paperwork. Just the first page, the one with the court header and our names. The caption? Served divorce papers with no warning, 7 years together, and this is how it ends. If you're in my life, please know I'm okay. I'm surrounded by love, and I'm stronger than he thinks I am. Comments were already flooding in. Stay strong, girl. You deserve so much better. He's showing his true colors. What a coward move, serving papers out of nowhere. I screenshotted it. Sent it to Catherine with a note. She's posting the legal documents publicly. Catherine's response. That may actually help us. Shows poor judgment. But don't engage. Let her have this moment. The court won't care about Instagram. I closed the app. Noah appeared in the doorway. Saw the post. Everyone did. You okay? No, but I will be. He sat down across from me. You know what bothers me about all this? What? She keeps saying no warning, like she didn't see this coming. Like the Vegas trip didn't happen, like the affair didn't happen, like she didn't tell you to leave if you had a problem with her behavior. Selective memory. Convenient memory. He cracked open a beer and slid one across to me. But here's the thing. She can rewrite history all she wants on social media. She can make you the villain. She can get all the sympathy. But in 6 months, when the separation is final, none of that matters. You're free. She's not your problem. And the people who matter will know the truth. Will they? The ones worth keeping? Yeah. He raised his beer. To freedom. I clinked bottles with him. Outside, Portland was settling into Friday night. People heading to bars, restaurants, living their lives. Unaware that somewhere in Cape Elizabeth, my almost ex-wife was posting tearful selfies and accepting sympathy from strangers who didn't know the full story. Let her have it. Let her perform. I had the documentation, and that was all I needed. Saturday morning, I woke up to a voicemail from Dina Kincaid. I almost deleted it without listening, but curiosity won. Mr. Hale, It's Dina. I saw the news about the separation papers. I wanted to say I'm sorry. I know my son's actions contributed to this. I also wanted to let you know that Brent is struggling. He's moved back home with me temporarily, lost his apartment, can't find work in his field because of the termination. I'm not asking for sympathy. I'm telling you this because I think you should know the full impact of what's happened. He made mistakes. Serious mistakes. But the consequences are severe. I hope you find peace in whatever comes next. Take care. I listened to it twice. Then I saved it and sent it to Catherine with a note. For context, her response. Noted. But don't let maternal guilt change your course. He earned every consequence. She was right. I knew she was right. But hearing Dina's voice, tired, sad, trying to be dignified while her son's life fell apart, made me feel something I hadn't expected. Not guilt, exactly, but awareness. That my actions had ripple effects beyond just Tessa and Brent. That families were affected. Mothers worried. Lives changed. I sat with that feeling for a while. Then I got dressed and went to work. Work was strange. Normal and strange at the same time. People knew. Of course they knew. Portland was small enough that everyone knew everyone's business. And some of my coworkers followed Tessa on Instagram, had seen her posts, had formed opinions. My manager pulled me aside mid-morning. Gavin, you doing okay? I'm fine. Because if you need some personal time, I don't. Work is actually the best distraction right now. She nodded slowly. Okay, but if that changes, let me know. And she hesitated. For what it's worth, I hope things work out however they need to. Thanks. I went back to my desk and buried myself in logistics problems. Route optimization, inventory tracking, things that made sense, things with clear solutions. At lunch, one of my coworkers, a woman named Beth who'd always been friendly, approached my table in the break room. Can I sit? Sure. She sat down with her salad. I saw Tessa's posts. I didn't respond. And I wanted to say, I've known you for 3 years. You're one of the most steady, reasonable people here. So whatever happened in your marriage, I know there's more to the story than Instagram is showing. Thanks. Also, she lowered her voice. My cousin used Secure Life for her business security. When I told her about your situation, she checked her account. Found out the installer had been accessing her cameras remotely for months. She's filing a complaint too, so thank you for speaking up. You probably helped a lot of people. I hadn't thought about it that way. You're welcome, I said quietly. She finished her lunch and left. I sat there feeling something like validation. Maybe I wasn't just destroying Brent's career for revenge. Maybe I'd actually exposed something that needed to be exposed. Maybe the consequences served a purpose beyond my personal satisfaction. Or maybe I was just rationalizing. I didn't know anymore. Sunday afternoon, Mallory showed up at my apartment. I saw her through the window, recognized her car, watched her get out and march to the door with the kind of determined stride that meant trouble. She knocked, loud, aggressive. I didn't answer. She knocked again. Gavin, I know you're in there. Your car's here. Open up. I stayed quiet. Gavin, we need to talk. Face to face. Adult to adult. Still nothing. Fine. I'll say this through the door. You're being cruel. You're being vindictive. You're punishing Tessa for being honest about her feelings, for wanting more from life, for refusing to settle for a loveless marriage. I almost laughed. She loved you, Mallory continued. She tried to make it work. But you were never present, never emotionally available, always at work, always prioritizing everything except her. And when she finally found someone who paid attention to her, who made her feel valued, you punished her for it. That's not love. That's control. I pulled out my phone and started recording through the door camera. Let her say all this. Let her build the narrative. And now you're serving her papers? Without even trying counseling? Without giving her a chance to explain? Mallory's voice was rising. You're a coward, Gavin. You're taking the easy way out, and everyone sees it. Everyone knows what you are. I waited until she ran out of steam, then I opened the door. She stepped back, surprised I'd actually appeared. You done? I asked. No, Good. Because here's what's actually true. I worked late because someone had to pay bills. I was emotionally available until being available meant accepting lies. And I didn't punish Tessa for finding someone else. I removed myself from a situation where my wife was using my own security system to plan an affair. I held up my phone, showing the recording. You just said all of that on my doorbell camera. Every word, documented. And if you show up here again uninvited, I'll file for harassment. Her face went red. You can't. I can. And I will. Now leave. She left, fast. I watched her peel out of the parking lot like she was fleeing a crime scene. Then I sent the video to Catherine. Her response? Perfect. This shows they're coordinating a harassment campaign. Save everything. That night, I sat in my apartment, my actual apartment now, not Noah's spare room, and looked around. It was quiet, empty, just my furniture, my things, no Tessa, no reminders of who we'd been. It should have felt sad. Instead, it felt clean. My phone buzzed. Text from Noah. You good? Yeah. Mallory showed up. Got it on camera. Sent to lawyer. You're getting good at this. At what? Documentation. Evidence. Staying calm while everyone else loses their minds. Logistics training. Whatever it is, it's working. Tessa's narrative is falling apart. Every time she posts, someone questions it. Every time Mallory backs her up, it looks coordinated. You're winning by doing nothing. Doesn't feel like winning. It will, eventually. I hoped he was right. Outside my window, Portland was settling into Sunday night. Cars passing, streetlights glowing, the world continuing like my life wasn't imploding. And maybe that was the point. The world didn't stop for personal disasters. It kept moving, and you either moved with it or got left behind. I was moving, slowly, painfully, but forward, and that had to be enough. Monday morning, Catherine called. Tessa's lawyer reached out. I sat up straighter. She hired a lawyer? Of course she did. Someone from a firm in South Portland. Not terrible, but not great either. They want to meet. For what? Negotiation. They're proposing a 4-way meeting, you, me, Tessa, and her attorney, to discuss settlement terms before this goes to court. Do we have to? No, but it might be useful. Give us a chance to see what she's thinking, what she wants. And if she's unreasonable, it strengthens our position that we tried to negotiate in good faith. When? Wednesday, 2 p.m. Conference room at a neutral location, the Regency Hotel downtown. Public, professional, safe. I thought about it. Seeing Tessa face to face again. Hearing what she wanted. What she thought she deserved. Okay, I said. I'll do it. Ground rules. You stay calm. You let me do most of the talking. You don't engage emotionally. You don't defend yourself. You just listen and let me handle it. I can do that. Good. Dress professionally, business casual. Look like someone who has their life together. I hung up and stared at my closet. Business casual? Looking like I had my life together, I could do that. I was good at performing normal. Tuesday, I prepared. Not emotionally. I couldn't prepare for that. But practically. I reviewed all the documentation with Catherine. Bank records, lease agreements, security system logs, the shoebox of evidence from Tessa's closet, everything. The goal, Catherine explained, is to show them we have so much evidence that fighting is pointless. We're not trying to destroy Tessa in court. We're trying to make her realize that settlement is her best option. What if she doesn't see it that way? Then we go to court and win anyway. But court is expensive, time-consuming, public. If we can settle quietly, everyone's better off. Even me? Especially you. Because settling means you can move on faster. That made sense. Cold, practical sense. Wednesday at 1:45 p.m. I walked into the Regency Hotel in downtown Portland wearing khakis and a button-down shirt, looking exactly like a logistics manager who had his life together. Calm. Professional. Fine. I was none of those things. But I looked the part. Catherine met me in the lobby. Ready? No. Good. Honesty is important. She handed me a folder. Don't open this unless I ask you to. It's copies of our evidence. We'll only show it if we need to. We took the elevator to the 3rd floor. Found conference room C. Walked in. Tessa was already there with her lawyer, a woman in her 50s with gray hair and a no-nonsense expression. They sat on one side of the table. Catherine and I took the other side. Tessa looked thin, tired. She'd been crying recently. I could see the remnants of makeup under her eyes. She didn't look at me, kept her eyes down, on her hands, on the table, anywhere else. Her lawyer spoke first. Thank you for meeting with us. I'm Jennifer Hart. I represent Tessa. I think we can resolve this matter efficiently if everyone's willing to be reasonable. Catherine nodded. We're here in good faith. What are you proposing? Jennifer slid a document across the table. Our settlement offer. Tessa is willing to agree to separation on the condition that Gavin provides 3 months of transitional support while she secures employment and housing. Additionally, she requests return of personal items still at the apartment and a mutual agreement not to disparage each other publicly. Catherine scanned the document. Passed it to me. 3 months of support meant roughly $12,000. Personal items were fine. I had no interest in keeping her stuff. Mutual non-disparagement meant I couldn't tell the truth publicly about what happened. I looked at Tessa. No. Her eyes finally met mine. Surprised. No? Jennifer asked. No. I'm not paying transitional support for someone who chose to end the marriage by having an affair. I'm not agreeing to non-disparagement when she spent 2 weeks posting half-truths on social media while I've stayed silent. And her personal items are still in the apartment. She can collect them any time with 48 hours written notice. Tessa's voice was small. I don't have anywhere to live. You're at your mother's. I can't stay there forever. That's not my problem. Gavin, she looked genuinely hurt now. I know you're angry, but we were married for 7 years. That has to count for something. It did count, until you went to Vegas with someone else. That was a mistake. I made a mistake, but you didn't even try to save us. You just left. I felt Catherine's hand on my arm, a subtle warning. Stay calm. You told me to leave, I said evenly. I took your advice. I didn't mean it literally. Then you shouldn't have said it. Jennifer cleared her throat. Perhaps we can discuss the financial component. 3 months of support is reasonable given the length of the marriage and the income disparity. Catherine shook her head. There's no income disparity. My client worked full-time. Tessa worked part-time by choice. She had opportunities to increase her income. She chose not to. That's not grounds for support. She supported him emotionally. By planning an affair, by using home security cameras to coordinate with her lover. That's the emotional support you're claiming? Catherine's voice was sharp now, professional but cutting. Let's be clear about what happened here. Tessa had an affair. She used marital resources, a shared residence, a security system my client paid for, to facilitate that affair. She has no legal claim to transitional support? None. Tessa's lawyer frowned. The security system allegations are contested. Are they? Catherine pulled out a document. Because Secure Life's investigation confirmed unauthorized access, confirmed the installer, Tessa's romantic partner, maintained admin privileges and accessed the system remotely, confirmed he deleted evidence, all documented, all verified by a third party. Jennifer's expression shifted. She hadn't known. Tessa hadn't told her. Additionally, Catherine continued, my client has documented multiple instances of public disparagement by Tessa on social media, posts calling him controlling, abusive, vindictive, posts that we can prove are false based on time-stamped evidence. If anything, she should be the one agreeing not to disparage him. Tessa was shaking her head. I never called him abusive. You implied it, repeatedly, to thousands of followers. Catherine slid another document across the table. Screenshots, dates, engagement metrics, all documented. The room went quiet. Jennifer looked at her client. Can we have a moment? Of course. Catherine stood. We'll be in the hallway. In the hallway, I leaned against the wall and breathed. You did well, Catherine said. Stayed calm. Let me handle it. She looks terrible. She looks like someone facing consequences. That's different. I almost felt bad for her. Don't. She made choices. Now she's dealing with the results. Catherine checked her phone. They're going to come back with a revised offer. Something more reasonable. Be ready to negotiate. 5 minutes later, we were called back in. Tessa's eyes were red. She'd been crying. Jennifer spoke carefully now. Revised offer. No transitional support. Personal items collection with notice, as you suggested. And mutual agreement to refrain from posting about each other on social media going forward. Catherine looked at me. Your call. I thought about it. Thought about the Instagram posts, the comments, the narrative Tessa had built. No, I said again. Tessa's head snapped up. What? I won't agree to silence. Not when you've spent 2 weeks lying publicly while I've stayed quiet. If you want to stop talking about me, stop talking about me. But I'm not legally binding myself to protect your reputation when you haven't protected mine. So you're going to what? Tell everyone about Vegas? About Brent? Make me look like someone who had an affair. You did that yourself. I leaned forward. I'm not interested in revenge. I'm not going to post screenshots or write a tell-all or make you internet famous for the wrong reasons. But I'm also not going to promise silence when you've shown you can't be trusted to stop twisting the truth. Tessa was crying now, full tears. I can't believe you're being this cruel. I'm being clear. There's a difference. Jennifer looked frustrated. Mr. Hale, my client is trying to move forward. So am I, by not agreeing to terms that benefit her more than me. I stood. Here's my counteroffer. Clean separation, no support, no non-disparagement clause. She gets her personal items. We split the minimal shared property we have based on receipts. Done. If she wants to fight it, we go to court, and I bring every piece of documentation I have. Her choice. Catherine stood too. We'll give you 24 hours to respond. After that, we file contested proceedings. We walked out. In the elevator, Catherine smiled. That was perfect. Was it? You gave her a choice. Reasonable settlement or expensive court battle she'll lose, and you did it calmly, professionally, no emotion, just facts. She was crying. Of course she was. She's realizing she doesn't have leverage, that the victim narrative only works on Instagram, not in court. The elevator doors opened. She'll sign, maybe not tomorrow, but within a week, because her lawyer knows they can't win. That night, Tessa posted again, a photo of herself looking sad. The caption, tried to have an adult conversation today, got met with coldness and ultimatums. Some people would rather win than reconcile, choosing to focus on my healing. Comments flooded in, supportive, angry on her behalf, calling me everything from heartless to worse. I screenshotted it, sent it to Catherine. Her response, let her post. Every word makes our case stronger. I closed Instagram and didn't look at it again. Thursday morning, I got an email from Jennifer Hart. Mr. Hale, after consulting with my client, we're prepared to accept your terms. Clean separation, no support, property division by receipts. Please have your attorney draft the final agreement and we'll review for signature. I forwarded it to Catherine. She called me 2 minutes later. We won. We won? She's signing. Clean break. Exactly what you wanted. I should have felt victorious. Should have felt something like triumph. Instead, I just felt tired. How long until it's final? I asked. I'll draft the agreement today. They'll review tomorrow, signatures early next week, filed by Wednesday, final in 6 months barring any complications. Okay. Gavin, you did it. You stood your ground. You didn't let emotion override logic. You got exactly what you wanted. Yeah. So why don't you sound happy? Because winning doesn't feel the way I thought it would. She was quiet for a moment. It never does. But at least you're free, and that's worth something. I hoped she was right. Saturday afternoon, Mallory posted an event invitation. Support Tessa. Wellness and Wine Night. Saturday, 7 p.m. Showing our girl some love during hard times. Open invitation to friends and allies. Let's lift her up. Location tagged. Mallory's house in South Portland. I saw it because someone, probably Beth from work, screenshotted it and sent it to me with a message. Heads up, this looks like it might get ugly. I showed it to Noah. They're rallying the troops, he said, making it a whole thing. Should I be worried? Nah, it's performative. They'll drink wine, trash talk you, convince themselves Tessa's the victim, and go home feeling righteous. He paused. But you should probably stay away from South Portland tonight, just in case. Good advice. Except at 6:30 p.m., my phone rang. Unknown number, I answered cautiously. Hello? Gavin, it's Beth, from work. Hey, what's up? I'm at Mallory's thing, the Tessa support event. She lowered her voice. I came because I wanted to see what they were saying, and you should know what's happening here. What's happening? They're planning something. Mallory's talking about showing Gavin how the community feels, about making sure you know you're not welcome here. She's drunk. They're all drunk, and they're getting worked up. Worked up how? Like talking about showing up at your apartment, posting your address, making it clear you're not wanted in Portland. She paused. I think they're going to try to publicly shame you, tonight. I felt something cold move through me. Are they coming here? I don't know, but I wanted to warn you. Some of these women they're not thinking clearly, and Tessa's just sitting there crying and letting them get more and more angry. Thanks for the heads up. Be careful, okay? She hung up. I looked at Noah. They might be coming here. Let them. You've got cameras, documentation. If they show up and cause problems, we call the police. I don't want to call the police on a group of drunk women. Then what do you want to do? I thought about it, about Mallory's event, about Tessa sitting there playing victim while her friends worked themselves into righteous fury, about the fact that they were building a narrative I couldn't control, unless I controlled it first. "I'm going there," I said. Noah stared at me. "That's a terrible idea." "Probably. They're going to tear you apart." "Maybe. Or maybe I show up calm, reasonable, and willing to talk like an adult, and they show their true colors." "You want to record it?" "I want to give them a chance to be honest. Face to face. Without Instagram filters and curated posts." Noah grabbed his keys. "Then I'm driving you, because when this goes sideways, you're going to need an exit strategy." We parked down the block from Mallory's house at 7:15 p.m. The place was lit up, cars crowding the street, music and laughter audible from the sidewalk. "Last chance to back out," Noah said. "I know." "You sure about this?" "No, but I'm doing it anyway." I got out of the truck, walked up to Mallory's door, knocked. The music cut off abruptly. Voices quieted. The door opened. Mallory stood there, wineglass in hand, eyes widening when she saw me. "What are you doing here?" "I heard you were having an event, supporting Tessa. Thought I should hear what you all have to say, face to face." "You're not welcome here." "I know, but I'm here anyway." I kept my voice calm, level. "Can I come in? Or are we doing this on the porch?" She stepped aside, not welcoming, just too surprised to refuse. I walked in. The living room was full, maybe 15 women, all holding wine glasses, all staring at me like I just crashed a funeral. Tessa was on the couch. She looked up, went pale. "Gavin, what are you doing here?" "I came to talk. Since everyone's talking about me anyway, I figured I should at least be in the room." Mallory found her voice. "You need to leave, now." "Or what? You'll post about it on Instagram?" I looked around the room. "I know what this is, a support group, a chance to tell Tessa she's not alone, that I'm the villain, that she deserves better, and maybe some of that is true. But I wanted to give you all a chance to say it to my face instead of behind screens." One woman, someone I vaguely recognized from Tessa's gym, stood up. "You have a lot of nerve showing up here." "I know. Tessa is hurting. You served her separation papers. You're trying to ruin her life." "I served papers because she had an affair, because she used home security cameras to plan that affair, because she lied for months. Those are facts." I pulled out my phone. "I have documentation, screenshots, investigation reports, all of it. Do you want to see? Or would you rather keep believing the version where I'm just controlling and she's innocent?" Silence. Another woman spoke. "So you're saying she's lying?" "I'm saying she's telling half the truth, the half that makes her sympathetic." "And your half?" "My half is that I came home to an empty life, found evidence of an affair, moved out while she was in Vegas with another man, separated our finances, filed for legal separation, and stayed quiet while she posted vague accusations." I looked at Tessa. "Until now." Tessa was shaking her head. "You're twisting everything." "Am I?" I held up my phone. "I have the hotel confirmation, the Venmo payments, the calendar entries, the security system access logs showing Brent logged in remotely 47 times over 3 months. Do you want me to show everyone, or would you rather keep this between us?" Mallory stepped between us. "Get out, now, before I call the police." "Call them. I'm standing in a living room having a conversation. That's not illegal." I looked past her at Tessa. "Tell them the truth. Tell them about Brent, about Vegas, about the cameras. Tell them what really happened." Tessa was crying now. "I made a mistake. I know I made a mistake. But you didn't have to destroy everything." "I didn't destroy anything. I removed myself from a situation where I was being lied to. That's not destruction. That's self-preservation." The room was silent now. Everyone watching, processing. One woman, older, maybe mid-40s, spoke quietly. "Tessa, is what he's saying true? About the cameras? About Vegas?" Tessa didn't answer. "Tessa? It's more complicated than that," she said finally. "Gavin was never present. He worked all the time. I was lonely. Brent paid attention to me. It wasn't planned. It just happened." "But the cameras," the woman pressed. "Did this Brent person have access to your home security?" Tessa looked at the floor. "Yes, but it wasn't like Gavin's saying. It wasn't about spying. It was just, Brent installed the system. He had access as part of his job. And he used that access to monitor when I was home," I added. "So you two could meet without me knowing." Tessa's head snapped up. We weren't. Then explain the access logs. Explain him logging in at midnight, at 6 a.m., at random times that don't match any customer service need. I stepped closer. Explain Vegas. Explain the hotel room you shared with him. Explain any of it in a way that doesn't make you look exactly like what you are. Which is what? She asked quietly. Someone who chose an affair over honesty, who chose to lie instead of leave, who wanted the security of marriage and the excitement of someone new. You can't have both, Tessa. And when I figured that out, I left. That's all this is. The woman who'd asked the question stood up. I think I should go. She left. 2 more women followed. Mallory tried to stop the exodus. He's manipulating you. He has evidence, someone said, and Tessa's not denying it. Another woman left, then another. Within 5 minutes, the room had cleared by half. Tessa was sobbing now. Mallory had her arm around her, glaring at me with pure hatred. Are you happy? Mallory hissed. You came here to humiliate her. I came here to tell the truth. She humiliated herself. I turned to leave. Tessa's voice stopped me. Gavin, wait. I looked back. I'm sorry, she said quietly. I know that doesn't fix anything, but I'm sorry. I nodded. I know. Then I walked out. In the truck, Noah was grinning. That was insane. That was necessary. You just blew up her support system. I just gave them the truth. What they do with it is up to them. My phone was already buzzing. Texts from numbers I didn't recognize. People who'd been at the party, asking questions, wanting to see evidence, wanting to know the whole story. I didn't respond to any of them. Just sent one text to Catherine. Tessa's support event just fell apart. Multiple witnesses, some requesting evidence. Let me know if you need anything. Her response. You are either brilliant or reckless. Possibly both. Document everything. I was already documenting. Because this wasn't over. Not yet. Monday morning, Catherine called with news. Tessa signed. I set down my coffee. She signed? This morning. Her lawyer sent over the executed documents. Clean separation. No conditions, no changes. She just signed. Why? Because Saturday night destroyed her narrative. Half the people at that support event reached out to us asking for evidence. 3 of them offered to provide statements if needed. She knows she can't fight this anymore. I should have felt victorious. Should have felt something. So it's over? Paperwork-wise, almost. We filed today, final in 6 months. But emotionally? Catherine paused. That's up to you. Tuesday afternoon, I went back to the apartment one final time. Tessa had scheduled a pickup. 48 hours notice, professional movers, everything legal and documented. I'd arranged to be gone, didn't want to see her, didn't want the confrontation. But as I was packing up my own last few items, transferring to a new place, 1 bedroom, mine alone, I found something. The shoebox. The one with cards and gifts from Brent. I'd meant to give it to the movers, let Tessa have it back. Instead, I opened it, read the cards, looked at the cheap jewelry, the restaurant receipts, evidence of a relationship built on lies and excitement and the thrill of getting away with something. I could give it to her, let her keep the memories, or I could throw it away, erase it, pretend it never existed. I did neither. I photographed every item, added it to my evidence folder. Then I packed it in a box labeled Tessa Personal and left it by the door for the movers. Let her decide what to do with her own history. Wednesday, I signed the final documents in Catherine's office. Congratulations, she said. You're officially separated. Divorce final in 6 months pending any complications. What kind of complications? The kind where one of you gets remarried before the waiting period ends. Oh, done. The words sat heavy. You okay? Catherine asked. I don't know. That's normal. Separation is weird. It's relief and grief at the same time. She closed the folder. For what it's worth, you handled this better than most. You stayed calm. You documented everything. You didn't let emotion drive bad decisions. I showed up at her support event and called her out in front of everyone. That was calculated, strategic, and it worked. She leaned back in her chair. You know what most people do in your situation? They post rants on social media. They trash their ex publicly. They do things that feel good in the moment but hurt them long term. You didn't do any of that. You let her build a narrative, documented every lie, and then quietly presented the truth to the people who mattered. That's how you win. I don't feel like I won. You will. Give it time. Thursday evening, I saw Brent one last time. Accidental. Unavoidable. I was at the grocery store, normal life, mundane errands. when I rounded the corner into the cereal aisle and nearly ran into him. We both stopped, stared. He looked worse than I'd ever seen him, thinner, unshaven. Dark circles under his eyes that spoke to weeks of bad sleep. "Gavin," he said. "Brent." Silence. Shoppers moving around us, the mundane backdrop of life continuing. "I heard about the separation," he said finally. "Heard Tessa signed." "Yeah. I'm sorry." I almost laughed. "Are you?" "I am, for what it's worth. I know I wrecked your life. I know I wrecked my own. I wanted you to know I'm sorry." I looked at him. Really looked. Saw someone broken. Someone facing consequences he hadn't anticipated. "You didn't wreck my life," I said. "You showed me who my wife actually was. In a weird way, you did me a favor." He blinked. I mean it. If you hadn't been so obvious, if you hadn't been so careless with the cameras, I might have stayed. Might have kept living in a marriage that was already over. You forced the issue. So, thanks." I walked past him, grabbed cereal, continued shopping. Behind me, I heard him whisper, "I'm sorry." I didn't turn around. Friday night, Noah and I sat on the porch of my new apartment. Small, cheap, but mine. Drinking beer and watching the Portland sunset. "You did it," he said. "Did what?" "Got free, got out, got your life back." "Feels weird calling this a life." "It's a start. Better than what you had." He was right. I knew he was right. "Tessa posted today," I said. First post since the support event. Said she's focusing on growth and healing. No mention of me, no mention of Brent, just vague wellness language and sunset photos. She's rebuilding her brand. "Yeah." "You going to watch? Keep tabs?" "No," I blocked her. Blocked Mallory. Blocked everyone connected to that whole situation. I took a drink. I'm done spectating in my own disaster. "Good." We sat in silence for a while. Comfortable silence. "What's next?" Noah asked finally. "I don't know. Work. This place. Figure out who I am when I'm not married." "You'll figure it out." "Yeah." My phone buzzed. Text from Catherine. "Final paperwork filed. Court date set for 6 months from today. Barring any issues, you're free and clear. Congratulations again." I showed Noah. He raised his beer. "To freedom." I clinked bottles with him. To freedom. Saturday morning, I woke up in my new apartment and didn't immediately check my phone. Didn't look for Instagram updates, didn't search Tessa's name, didn't obsess over evidence or documentation or what people were saying. I just made coffee, sat on my secondhand couch, looked out the window at a Portland morning that looked exactly like every other Portland morning, and I felt something I hadn't felt in months. Peace, not happiness, not yet. But the absence of constant tension, the space where anxiety used to live, now just quiet. My phone buzzed. Text from my manager. "Taking tomorrow off. You've been through a lot. Take a long weekend. We've got coverage." I thanked her, set my phone down, looked around my apartment. It wasn't much, but it was mine. No lies, no cameras, no performance, just me. And that was enough. Sunday afternoon, I drove to my parents' cabin. The place I'd inherited. The place Tessa had always hated. 2 hours north of Portland, on a lake that froze solid in winter and reflected perfect blue in summer. I unlocked the door, still had the spare key I'd retrieved from the junk drawer, and stepped inside. Dust, stillness, the smell of wood and time. I opened windows, let air in, looked around at furniture my parents had chosen, decorations they'd loved, a life they'd built. They'd been married 43 years when my dad passed. Mom followed 6 months later. Everyone said it was grief, that she couldn't live without him. I used to think that was romantic. Now I thought it was sad. Being so dependent on another person that you couldn't survive their absence. I didn't want that. Didn't want to be so tangled with someone else that separation meant destruction. I wanted to be whole on my own. Complete. And then, if someone came along who added to that, great. But I'd never again build my life around someone else's approval. I sat on the cabin porch as the sun set over the lake, watched the water turn gold, then orange, then dark. My phone buzzed. Instagram notification. Someone had tagged me in a post. I almost looked. Almost fell back into that pattern of checking, monitoring, caring. Instead, I turned off notifications, put my phone in my pocket, and just sat. The lake was quiet, perfect, indifferent to my personal disasters. And somehow, that helped. 6 weeks later, on a random Tuesday, I saw the final post. Not because I was looking, because someone from work showed me. Tessa had posted a photo of herself, smiling at a coffee shop, with a caption, "New chapter, new me, grateful for growth." Comments were supportive. "You look amazing. So proud of you. New beginnings." No mention of me. No mention of Brent. No mention of Vegas or separation or any of it. Just new chapter, like the old one had never happened. I handed the phone back to my coworker. "You okay?" she asked. "Yeah, I'm fine." And I was, because her new chapter wasn't my problem. My own new chapter was. That night I sat in my apartment and made a list. Not of evidence, not of documentation, not of who wronged me and how, just a list of things I wanted. To finish the project at work I'd been neglecting, to fix up the cabin, make it livable again, to learn something new, maybe woodworking, maybe photography, something that had nothing to do with logistics or marriage or revenge, to be okay alone. That last one sat heavy, but true. I needed to be okay alone before I could be okay with someone else, and I wasn't there yet. But I was working on it. The final court date came on a Thursday in November, 6 months after Tessa had signed the separation papers. 6 months of waiting, processing, healing in fits and starts. Catherine met me at the courthouse. "Ready?" "Yeah." Tessa's not contesting. Her lawyer confirmed. This is just a formality. The judge signs off, the separation becomes a dissolution, and you're legally divorced. "Okay." We walked into the courtroom. Tessa was already there with Jennifer. She looked different. Hair shorter, clothes more professional, like she'd been working on her own new chapter. We sat on opposite sides, didn't make eye contact. The judge, a woman in her 60s with reading glasses and a tired expression, reviewed the paperwork. "This appears straightforward," she said. "No contest, no children, minimal shared assets. Both parties agree to terms." She looked up. "Mr. Hale, Ms. Hale, do you both understand that once I sign this, your marriage is legally dissolved?" "Yes, Your Honor," I said. "Yes," Tessa said quietly. The judge signed, stamped, handed copies to our lawyers. "You're divorced. Good luck to you both." That was it. 7 years of marriage, months of separation, all ended with a signature and a stamp. We walked out of the courtroom in opposite directions. I didn't look back. Outside the courthouse, Catherine handed me my copy of the final decree. "Congratulations, you're officially free." "Thanks." "What are you going to do now?" "I don't know. Go to work, live my life, figure out what normal looks like." She smiled. "That's the best answer you could have given." I walked to my car, sat in the driver's seat, looked at the document. Final decree of dissolution of marriage. State of Maine versus Hale and Hale. Granted. I set it in the passenger seat and drove home. Not to celebrate, not to mourn, just to continue. That night, I stood on the porch of my apartment and looked out at Portland. Lights coming on as evening settled. People heading home from work, living their lives, unaware that somewhere in the city, a marriage had officially ended. My phone buzzed, text from Noah. "You free?" "Yeah, what's up?" "Beer. My place, celebrating your freedom." I smiled. "Be there in 20. I grabbed my jacket and headed out. As I walked to my car, I passed a couple arguing on the sidewalk. The woman was crying. The man looked frustrated, both of them trapped in whatever conflict they couldn't resolve. I felt a pang of recognition, of memory, but also distance. That wasn't my life anymore. I got in my car and drove to Noah's place. We drank beer and watched a game and didn't talk about Tessa or Brent or separation or any of it. We just existed. Two friends, a normal night. Nothing dramatic, and it was perfect. 3 months later, on a cold February morning, I saw Tessa one last time. Purely by accident, at a coffee shop downtown. She was in line ahead of me. I could have left, could have avoided the interaction. Instead, I stayed. When she turned with her coffee and saw me, she froze. "Gavin." "Tessa." Silence. Other customers moving around us. "How are you?" she asked finally. "I'm okay. You?" "Good. I'm doing well." She shifted her weight. "I got a new job, full-time, marketing firm. It's good." "That's great." More silence. "I saw you got the cabin fixed up," she said. "Someone posted a photo. It looks nice?" "Thanks. It's a work in progress." I'm glad you're doing okay." "You too." She nodded, started to leave, then stopped. "Gavin, I really am sorry for everything. I know it doesn't change anything, but I am. I looked at her, saw someone who'd hurt me, someone I'd loved, someone who was now just a person I used to know. I know, I said. I forgive you. She looked surprised. You do? Yeah, because staying angry doesn't help anyone. You made choices. I made choices. It ended badly, but it ended, and we both survived. Tears in her eyes now. Thank you. She left. I ordered my coffee, sat by the window, watched the Portland morning unfold. And I realized something. I meant it. I actually did forgive her. Not because she deserved it, but because carrying anger was exhausting, and I was tired of being exhausted. Forgiveness didn't mean forgetting, didn't mean excusing, just meant letting go. And I was ready to let go. That night, I sat at the cabin and looked out at the frozen lake, stars reflecting on ice, cold air that hurt to breathe, the kind of winter silence that feels like the world holding its breath. I thought about the past year, the discovery, the confrontation, the separation, the legal process, the ending, and I thought about what came next. Not revenge, not vindication, not proving I was right and she was wrong. Just living, building something new, something mine, something that didn't require anyone else's approval or presence. My phone sat silent on the table. No notifications, no drama, no constant checking, just quiet. And in that quiet, I found something I hadn't expected. Myself. The person I'd been before marriage. Before Tessa. Before all of it. Still there. Still intact. Just buried under years of trying to be what someone else needed. I didn't need to be that anymore. I could just be me. And that was enough. Spring came to Maine the way it always does. Slowly, reluctantly, like winter didn't want to let go. But it came. Ice melted on the lake. Buds appeared on trees, birds returned, and I kept moving forward. Working, building, living, not perfectly, not without setbacks, but forward. One morning in April, I woke up and realized I hadn't thought about Tessa in 3 days. Not with anger, not with sadness, not at all. She'd become what she should have been all along, someone I used to know. And I was okay with that. More than okay, I was free. The last time I saw evidence of our shared past was in June. Cleaning out the cabin's attic, I found a box of old photos. Wedding pictures, vacation snapshots, moments from a life that felt like it had happened to someone else. I almost threw them away. Instead, I packed them carefully, labeled the box, stored it in the back of the closet, not to look at, not to dwell on, just to acknowledge. That chapter happened. It shaped me. And now it was over. And that was okay. Everything didn't have to end in fire. Sometimes things just ended. Quietly, completely, and you survived. You moved on. You built something new. 1 year after the Vegas trip that started everything, I stood on the cabin porch watching the sunset. The lake was calm, perfect, reflecting gold and orange and the deep blue of approaching night. My phone buzzed, text from Noah. Boat ready for tomorrow? I'd bought a small boat. Nothing fancy. Just enough to get out on the water. Fish, think, exist. Ready, I texted back. I set my phone down and leaned against the porch railing. A year ago, I'd been married. Living in an apartment with someone who didn't love me anymore, working late, coming home to silence and suspicion and lies. Now I was divorced, living alone, working normal hours, coming home to a cabin that was mine, a life that was mine. It wasn't the life I'd planned, wasn't the future I'd imagined when I'd proposed to Tessa 7 years ago, but it was good, honest, clean, real, and that was worth more than any performance of happiness. The sun dropped below the tree line. The lake turned dark. And I stood there, breathing, living, free, not waiting for something to happen, not planning revenge or nursing wounds, just being. And for the first time in a long time, that was enough. The revenge I'd wanted, the destruction, the public vindication, the total collapse of everything Tessa had built, it never happened. She didn't lose everything. She rebuilt, found a new job, new friends, probably eventually a new relationship. Brent moved away. Last I heard, he was working in sales for a different company in Boston, starting over. Mallory kept posting supportive messages and wellness content and performative friendship. Life went on for all of them, and that was fine, because the revenge I'd actually needed wasn't their destruction. It was my freedom, and I got it. Cleanly, legally, completely. I won not by destroying them, but by refusing to let them destroy me, by documenting everything, by staying calm, by letting the truth speak for itself, by walking away and building something new. That was the revenge. Not fire, not drama, not public spectacle. Just freedom. And freedom, I learned, tastes better than any revenge ever could. 2 years later, I sold the cabin. Not because I didn't love it, but because someone made an offer I couldn't refuse. A young couple, just married, looking for a place to build memories. I took their money and bought a small house in Portland, walking distance to work, quiet street, my own space, and I was happy. Actually happy, not performing it, not pretending, just content. I dated occasionally, nothing serious, nothing that required me to lose myself again. I worked, I had friends, I had hobbies, I had a life that was mine. And when people asked about my marriage, because people always ask, I told them the truth. It ended. We weren't right for each other. I moved on. No drama, no victim story, no villain narrative, just truth. And truth, I learned, is the most powerful revenge of all. Because when you tell the truth, calmly and completely, lies lose their power. Narratives collapse. And the person who was calm, who documented everything, who walked away with dignity, that person wins. Not loudly, not dramatically, but completely. The last time I heard Tessa's name was at a work event 3 years after the divorce. Someone mentioned she'd gotten engaged to someone new, a fresh start. "Are you okay?" they asked me. "Yeah," I said, and I meant it. "I hope she's happy." And I did, not because I'd forgiven her completely, not because the pain was gone entirely, but because her happiness or unhappiness wasn't my problem anymore. She was free to build whatever life she wanted. And so was I. That was the final revenge. The ultimate victory. Not caring anymore, not in a bitter way, not in a I'm pretending not to care way, but genuinely, completely, not caring. She was just someone I used to know, and I was someone she used to hurt. But we both survived. We both moved on. And that was the ending. Not perfect, not wrapped in a bow. Just over. 5 years after Vegas, I met someone. Actually met someone, not on an app, not at a bar, just at a bookstore. We reached for the same book, laughed, talked, exchanged numbers. Her name was Emma. She was a teacher, calm, honest, real. We dated slowly, no rush, no performance, just two people getting to know each other. And when she asked about my marriage, because of course she asked, I told her the truth, all of it. Vegas, Brent, the cameras, the separation, the legal process, the slow healing. She listened, didn't judge, didn't run, just said, "That sounds hard. I'm glad you got through it." "Me too," I said, and I meant it, because I was through it, completely, finally. The revenge I'd wanted at the beginning, the destruction, the public shaming, the total annihilation of everything Tessa had built, it would have destroyed me too. Would have made me bitter, angry, someone I didn't want to be. Instead, I'd chosen the harder path, the cleaner path. Documentation, honesty, legal process, walking away, and it had saved me, not just from the marriage, but from becoming someone I'd hate. 10 years after Vegas, I married Emma. Small ceremony, close friends. Noah stood up as best man. It was nothing like my first wedding. No performance, no spectacle, no trying to impress anyone. Just two people who loved each other making a promise to try. And this time I knew what I was doing. I knew the difference between love and performance, between partnership and dependence, between building something together and losing yourself in someone else. I knew how to document, how to communicate, how to walk away if necessary, but I also knew how to stay, how to fight for something worth fighting for, how to choose someone every day. And Emma knew all of it, because I'd told her, because I'd learned that honesty, even painful honesty, was better than comfortable lies. We built a life, small, quiet, real, and it was everything the first one wasn't. 15 years after Vegas, I got a message, LinkedIn notification, someone requesting to connect, Tessa. I stared at the request for a long time, then I declined it, politely, no message, just no. Because some doors are better left closed, some chapters are better left finished, and some people are better left as memories. And though I didn't hate her, didn't wish her ill, I just didn't want her in my life. And that was okay. That was healthy. That was, finally, freedom. 20 years after Vegas, I was sitting on my porch, the house in Portland, the one I'd bought after selling the cabin, when Emma asked me a question. Do you ever think about her, your first wife? I thought about it, honestly. Sometimes, I said, but not the way I used to, not with anger or hurt. Just, sometimes I remember things, good things even. We had some good years before it went bad. Do you regret marrying her? No, because if I hadn't, I wouldn't have learned what I needed to learn, wouldn't have become who I needed to become, wouldn't have been ready for you. She smiled, took my hand. Good answer. We sat in silence, comfortable, complete, and I realized something. The revenge I'd wanted all those years ago, the destruction, the vindication, the proof that I was right and she was wrong. It didn't matter anymore. What mattered was this porch, this person, this life, built not on someone else's destruction, but on my own growth. That was the real revenge. Living well, being happy, being whole, not because of what someone did to me, but despite it.